Oh, sorry, I should interrupt and let you know what I titled this section. Somebody set up us the bomb.
That makes sense, yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Go to the Ring, where we take a look at the good old days and not so good old days of World Championship Wrestling series by series. I'm your host, Bob Moore, and it is written from the bones of Anaris that Alec Pridgeon shall join me as my co-host.
Where do you get the Bones of Anaris? Is there like a store for that?
Weirdly, they sell it at Publix.
You know, that does make sense, yeah.
Yeah. Full sets of them, just like it's an entire row is the bones of various ancient giant and dragon gods.
Oh, okay.
New department there. Very strange.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. They actually go great with some chicken soup.
Oh, yeah, like a stock kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see that.
How's it going tonight, Al?
It's going well. See how long we can take that.
Yeah, I'm tapping out on that one.
Yeah, it's all good.
As we noted at the end of last episode, we've had to pause our series on Halloween Havoc as WCW content was removed from Peacock, and while some later Halloween Havocs are available on YouTube, at the time of this recording, Halloween Havoc 1996 is not. Well, the main event is, but not the rest of the show. I suppose we could just do a really, really short episode, but we'll give it some time.
Yeah.
So, what do we have for you tonight? Well, we found something connected to our so far missing Halloween Havoc 1996. 3 ninjas, high noon at Mega Mountain. How is this connected? Well, 2 things. First off, Hulk Hogan plays one of the major supporting characters in the film, the children's martial arts stage show and TV show, briefly, hero Dave Dragon. And second, during the build-up to the Halloween Havoc 1996 match between Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan, we got an NWO video promo on a late October Nitro, I believe it was the October 21st, 1996 Nitro, in which Hogan, on the set of the movie and wearing the Dave Dragon costume, has kidnapped Elizabeth and is apparently holding her hostage on set. I am sure that the makers of this family-friendly children's movie were absolutely thrilled to have it implied that their set was being used to hold a woman hostage.
Yeah, I imagine so.
I believe Giant also got to play director for a bit.
I believe so as well, yeah.
Of all the cross-promotion, they had to be looking back and be like, Baywatch got to have normal Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
We get the creepy heel woman kidnapper Hulk Hogan. What the heck?
Yeah, the juxtaposition of him like on the kids movie set with the NWO theme and like the black and white and the off-kilter camera angles is very strange.
Yeah. With the full kids movie Dave Dragon costume, complete with the wig and everything.
Yeah.
He even, I believe, identifies himself as Dave Dragon at one point in the promo, which is hilarious.
That would make sense, yeah.
3 Ninjas, High Noon at Mega Mountain, filmed in 1996 and released in 1998, is the 4th and final film in the 3 Ninjas franchise after 1992's 3 Ninjas, 1994's 3 Ninjas Kick Back, and 1995's 3 Ninjas Knuckle Up. Interestingly enough, the second and third films were actually released in opposite order from how they were filmed. Knuckle Up was filmed in 1992, but not released until 1995, after Kick Back, which was filmed later. Thus, Knuckle Up has all 3 of the original 3 Ninjas kids back, while Kick Back only has Max Elliott Slade, who played middle brother Colt. As for High Noon at Mega Mountain, it has none of them.
Yeah.
Though it does have Alan McRae and Margarita Franco as the dad and mom, and has Victor Wong as Grandpa Mori for a few minutes anyway. The original film was produced by Touchstone Pictures, a division of Disney, and released by Buena Vista Pictures, but the 3 later films, including this one, were produced by Sheen Productions and released by TriStar Pictures. 3 Ninjas, High Noon at Mega Mountain, rated PG, was filmed at Elitch Gardens Theme Park in Denver, Colorado. I was unable to find the film's budget, but I was unfortunately able to find its box office gross, which was $375,805 per IMDb. I'm going to just bet that they didn't make their money back on this one.
Yeah. Well, I think that one guy bought one more ticket and got him over the mark on the extra $5.
Yes, yeah.
Good for you, man.
On the review front, it has a 0% tomato meter score on Rotten Tomatoes, but a 29% popcorn meter, which I'm guessing is probably what used to be called the audience score.
Yes, correct.
That puts it below First Daughter and Ready to Rumble, but ahead of Universal Soldier: The Return in audience score, though still below it in tomato meter score, because 0% is pretty low.
That'd be hard to beat, yeah.
But Rotten Tomatoes also thinks that Victor Wong played Tum Tum, so what did they know?
Huh.
Literally, it says that on their page. It says,
I believe it, yeah. Someone wrote that and no one fixed it, I'm sure.
Yep. I mean, admittedly, pretty hard to get people to care about Three Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain, but still.
Yeah.
On IMDb, it has a 3.0 rating out of 10, making it the lowest rated film we have yet watched going by IMDb scores.
Wow.
High Noon at Mega Mountain stars, and I will probably butcher some of these names, so my apologies to everyone concerned. Matthew Batuchis as Samuel Rocky Douglas Jr., the eldest brother. Michael Olasky II as Jeffrey Colt Douglas, the middle brother. J.P. Rosk II as Michael Tum Tum Douglas, the youngest brother, notably not played by Victor Wong.
Oh, yeah.
Chelsea Earlywine as Amanda. Lonnie Anderson as Medusa, sadly not the Medusa from WCW.
That'd been so much better.
It would have. Jim Varney. Yes, that Jim Varney.
Yeah.
Ernest himself as Lothar Zog, which is an awesome character name.
Yeah, sounds like a character in a LucasArts game.
It does, yeah. Isn't there like something like Lothar of the Hill People is a movie or something?
That was an SNL sketch. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Dwayne Carrington as CJ, the hacker of the group, enemy group that is. Victor Wong as Mori Tanaka, the boy's maternal grandfather. Alan McRae as Samuel Sam Douglas Sr., the boy's father. Margarita Franco as Jessica Tanaka Douglas, the boy's mother. And, of course, Hulk Hogan as Dave Dragon. It was directed by Sean McNamara and written by Sean McNamara and Jeff Phillips. Producers included Arthur Leeds and Shin Sang-ok, the latter of whom has a fascinating story that I imagine Al might get into. We had a look at Hogan's episode of Baywatch a while back, but this is our first look at Hogan playing a character other than Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, true.
Hogan, of course, had several forays into television and film, kicked off by his role as Thunderlips in Rocky III, and continuing on to such cinematic masterpieces as No Holds Barred, Suburban Commando, Mr. Nanny, Santa with Muscles, Assault on Devil's Island, Assault on Death Mountain, and of course the Knight Rider with a Boat TV movies and television series Thunder in Paradise.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying that our plan to pass the time until WCW content is available somewhere again is entirely reviewing Hogan movies and television shows, but we could do it.
Oh yeah.
We probably shouldn't for our sanity, but we could.
Yeah, it's true.
So, where will Hogan's appearance rank on the scale of barely featured DDP in First Daughter to major character and incongruous wrestling fight scene haver Goldberg in Universal Soldier: The Return? To find out, let's go to the movies. Take it away, Al.
Alrighty. So, who are the Three Ninjas and why did they get 4 films? Those are 2 good questions. Began with a family from the action movie, the original Three Ninjas, directed by John Turteltaub, who would go on to direct such films as Cool Runnings,
Oh, cool.
National Treasure 1 and 2, and The Meg starring Jason Statham.
That's quite a collection.
Yeah, right? The original film made $29 million against a $2 million budget, so obviously it got a sequel. As noted, the sequels were released out of order for reasons that no one quite seems to know. All I could find out is that the original second film was held up for distribution for some reason. So they went ahead and shot another movie and then released that, and then once the deal got sorted out, they released the movie they shot like 2 years earlier. Which, as noted, makes it confusing with the cast because you have new kids in second film officially, then the original kids back on the third film because of all that.
Probably also confusing for the one kid that is in all 3 of those films because he's shown filmed out of order, and I believe there's like a couple years between filming of the first and actual second film and then filming of the third film that released as the second film.
Yeah.
So you have him like suddenly older and then younger again.
I was saying he's a teen actor, so you gotta notice that more than like a 35-year-old actor being, 36 versus 39. Not as big a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you can do that with adult actors, but when you're talking about kids, there's a pretty big difference that happens, especially during that age range.
Yes. Notably, Three Ninjas Knuckle Up was directed by Sang-ok Shin, who also wrote the previous but also later film. He's famous for allegedly being kidnapped at the behest of Kim Jong-il. Yes, that Kim Jong-il, the former dictator of North Korea. He was kidnapped alongside his former wife. They were reunited in the worst possible way by being abducted to North Korea against their will and forced to make several movies. Notably, he made a film called Polgasari, which I don't know if I said that correctly, but who cares? It's North Korea. That film was notable for being a ripoff of Godzilla, albeit not script-wise and story-wise, but ultimately its creature is clearly a Godzilla. It also has the same guy who would go on to play Godzilla as in the guy in the suit in all the 1990s Godzilla films, so it's as official as it gets, really, without the G on the title.
Oh my gosh.
See, Bob, we would get back to Collision Korea somehow.
Yeah, that's true.
You didn't believe me, but yeah, here we are, back in North Korea. Wait, that came out wrong. We're not in North Korea, just to be clear.
Yeah.
The fact that we have good audio and internet means we're not in North Korea.
Well, we'll see on the audio, but the internet anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. Notably, the whole story of Sang-ok Shin and his wife is covered in a 2015 book and a 2016 documentary, which, as of my last look, is still on Tubi, much like this movie. So if I find out more, you can look at either one of those sources.
Sounds like an absolutely fascinating story, and in all honesty, like horrible story, but absolutely fascinating. They managed to escape to the US by like getting approved to do like promotion for films or something like that.
Yeah.
And finding a way to escape their handlers during that time, which is amazing.
Yeah, my understanding was, they had been in captivity for about 10 years at that point. They were seen as not a threat of escape, so they were allowed to go out of the country and attend some sort of premiere for a movie to promote it, and then escape while they were there and got back to America.
Amazing story that I did not expect to hear about while looking up information for Three Ninjas, High Noon, and Mega Mountain.
I sadly did, but yes, I knew that story already.
Oh, okay.
But no, it's still a bizarre connection. That craziness brings us to 1996, when Sean McNamara was inspired to take over the franchise with the new kid actors on board. It gets better. So Sean McNamara was seemingly inspired by after, and this is true, doing a remake of the Godzilla ripoff directed by Sang-ok Shin.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's a real thing. I verified this twice. So I can't be real. One of his first movies, is an American remake of that movie, which I'll have to check out, I guess.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. For reasons that are not exactly clear, however, this film was not released until 1998. Such a weird thing for studios where they hold up movies for ages and then release them, or sometimes never release them.
Yeah, especially when you were doing some like cross promotion on it with Hogan and company. Now, to be fair, it seems like it's being filmed in late 1996 because they have the NWO promo with him on the set. So maybe it's not that absolutely huge of a distance. I don't remember exactly when in 98 it's released, but
it was released in April 1998.
So it's filming in late 1996, released in early 1998. So that's not an absolutely huge distance.
Yeah, but a little over a year seems like a long turnaround time on a movie like this, which doesn't have a ton of special effects and post-production you need to do necessarily.
But all those CG computer screens, Al.
That's true. That could take a matter of days to do those correctly.
I don't know, in 1996 and 1997 rendering times, doing even that level of graphics might have taken a good 2 weeks for each render.
Yeah, that's very possible.
That's very much an exaggeration, but still.
Obviously, yeah. I lastly have to mention that, of course, Victor Wong is the main connected through line for this movie besides the parents. He plays the grandfather in all the films. I personally love the guy because he's in Big Trouble in Little China playing the master. He's so good in that. He's also in John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness, which is also an amazing movie. It's one of those weird experiences where I'm like, yay, he's in the movie, and then I realize this movie, and also how little he's actually in it, so it's kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
It's nice to see him, but then you realize there's not much of him to see, unfortunately.
On the bright side, I would say for the limited amount that he's in this film, he is one of the stronger parts of this film. It doesn't really do anything that makes him look bad.
No. Not at all.
Even in a film like this, I think a tremendous actor.
Yeah, it's certainly not a knock on him for being in this movie, obviously. All right, so we begin talking about the action movie itself rather than random nonsense involving North Korea that is weirdly connected.
Sure.
All right. The film begins with the introduction of our three heroes and their grandpa. He set up a very elaborate ninja training course for them. You see, every summer they go off to ninja training camp. The setup is one part Takeshi's Castle, one part Danger Room from the X-Men, and 98 parts American Gladiators.
Yes.
Each one of them goes through different challenges, which all include jumping, dodging, and backflipping of various degrees. Objects are spinning around, you duck them, or climbing under things, or flipping over things. Flipping when you don't have to, for no apparent reason, just because you can. They, of course, all make it to the end on their separate tracks, somehow, together.
Why are they on different routes?
Yes.
They all just join up at the top of Tum Tum's net climb anyway. It's like he has this very short course. I guess like you figure for their different ability levels or something, but still, it's weird that they start off together, split up, then come back together at what's clearly part of Tum Tum's course.
Yeah, they seem like they're all being trained together as equals, but yet they have separate tracks for them for training.
I think this is actually a sign of things to come in this movie. One of the things that makes the fight scenes weird.
Mm-hmm.
You rarely see the three ninjas actually working together.
Yeah, that's true. They sort of appear at the same time in scenes, as we'll discuss, but then run off or get separated somehow a lot, yeah.
Yeah. Also, just briefly, there's a couple shots in this that are extremely strange. Both, I believe, involving Colt, the middle brother.
The one with the ponytail, yeah.
There's a bit where he is being shot at by a rapid-fire tennis ball cannon, because, of course.
Yeah.
So he starts out dodging a few, but then he just kind of stands still while the tennis balls are flying by him and just blatantly missing. Well, he pulls out his nunchucks and just starts swinging them kind of randomly.
Yeah.
Did they just intentionally aim wide while he's arming himself? And then that happens again moments later. He's like doing this crossing a bar bit, and he loses balance dodging a flying plunger. But then they keep firing, and he's just wobbling and not dodging, but nothing's hitting him.
Yeah, it's not clear how much this is automated and how much is like the grandpa like pulling strings or pressing buttons. It's super elaborate, and you think you'd have to be constantly controlled to adjust for these things. So, yeah, I guess you can assume he's not shooting them when they're paused, but yeah, it's not really addressed very well.
Yeah. I think they just didn't have a communication between the effects designer and the choreographer, basically.
Yeah. Reunited, the trio make it to the end and grab the sword laid out as the prize. When they celebrate, Grandpa tells them they must, quote, return from whence they came. He walks over and his obvious stunt double ziplines to the beginning of the course and literally cuts the power with said sword.
Cutting an electrical cable with a metal sword. He must indeed be a ninja master to avoid electrocution.
Yeah, I guess a plastic handle makes you okay, or a rubber handle makes you okay.
Maybe, yeah. It's ninja magic, man.
Yeah. So now the trio must make it backwards through the course they literally just ran. But because the lights are out, they suddenly have no memory of what they just did. Also, they were never trained, apparently, at all at any point in this movie. And I don't know if this is a contradiction to the previous movies. They're apparently never trained to fight or do anything in the dark. You know, the things that ninjas are famous for.
Yes, please ignore the fact that they are ninjas, and working in the shadows and darkness is what ninjas do.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that that is a contradiction to the first film. At least there's like one scene of them like working their way through a like cargo ship or something like that in, at the very least, not very good lighting, I think.
Well, that was different people, Bob.
That is true, yes.
It's not supposed to be, but it is, yeah.
And again, they could just, instead of taking the three different routes, they could all just take Tum Tum's route. It wasn't too hard to go through.
Yeah, it's true. That night, the two older boys talk about not coming back next summer for ninja training. Tum Tum is sad. Grandpa, being a ninja, of course, is listening in on them. Ninja and creep are the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you should kind of always assume that he's listening in that house, probably.
Yeah.
Rocky, the eldest, while they're talking about ending their training, says that karate is way cool.
Mm-hmm.
Ninjas use ninjutsu.
Yeah.
Not karate.
Mm-hmm.
This film did very little research, I think.
At least he didn't say kung fu, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough.
That could have been worse. We cut from this scene to a shot of a ship full of guys loading up guns. We see Jim Varney telling his boss that they are ready. The boss is clearly Lonnie Anderson, but for some reason he's dressed like Darth Sidious.
Yes. She looks ridiculous standing because they for some reason they haven't gotten her like a cloak that will hold itself on.
Mm-hmm.
So she's having to stand there and like grasp it really, really tight at where there should be a clasp to keep the thing from blowing away in the wind.
Mm-hmm. She, of course, shoos him off because he's in charge. Back home, we follow the three ninjas having returned back from ninja training camp, and Mom consoles Grandpa because the kids, of course, have talked about growing up. And on top of that, Tum Tum mentioned going to Mega Mountain for his birthday.
This scene is all kinds of awkward in ways because only Grandpa is Asian.
Yes, that's true.
But the actual acting in the scene is pretty strong, I think. They did a good family dynamic between the kids and Grandpa and the mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
And Wong, I think, does an excellent job, again, with his small role in this, of looking so crushed and disappointed in a way that only a parent or grandpa can when they realize that the kids are growing up and their time with them is limited, basically.
Mm-hmm.
As little as he's in this film, he's a genuinely affecting performance, I think.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why I wish he's in it more, because for the early part of the film, he's sort of the emotional anchor. It's all about how the kids are going to interact with him and how it's going to affect him and all that. So like you really feel this early on, and then it's just completely abandoned for the next 80% of the movie. He's not even like sitting outside concerned. All I could figure is maybe they couldn't think of a reason why he wouldn't run in to help them.
I think that's probably it, because the prior three movies have all had Grandpa Mori being a major part of the plot.
Yeah.
The first film, he actually is rescuing the boys from a hostage situation and has actually the final fight of the movie. I did see the first film when I was a kid, but I haven't seen the second and third. But from what I understand, both of those have him involved pretty heavily, having some major fights and being a major part of the action.
Yeah, and that makes sense from a story standpoint as well. He's the trainer. You get that with like the Karate Kid movies.
Exactly, yeah. He's very much the Mr. Miyagi.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It does feel very, very awkward that he's not involved, but I am thinking that's probably part of why, is they just couldn't figure out how do we not do the thing that we've done in the earlier films, because we don't want him to be doing things in there. Maybe, I don't know if it's because of his health or his schedule or, you know, what is the case on that. But for whatever reason, they didn't want to use Grandpa Mori as much as they had in the past.
Yeah, I get that. So I guess the next day, it's not entirely clear how much time has passed between these two scenes, but we see Tum Tum sitting down in front of the TV watching his favorite show, Dave Dragon. And the host, Hulk Hogan, mentions that his show has been canceled, which is definitely a thing that syndicated shows do. They aren't taped months in advance. And they definitely allow him to talk about how he's been canceled. Again, they actually do that with big studios and big networks.
Yeah, I'm not as opposed to the idea that he would get the chance to say anything at the end of his show, but the fact that he's actually like allowed to effectively criticize the TV station, being like, well, they canceled me because of the ratings and everything, and that you would even think of saying that to your audience of like 6 to 9 year olds.
Yeah.
It's just nuts.
Because the way these kind of shows work, they'll just rerun, I don't know how many episodes. He implied he's been on a long time.
He said he's been on the air for 15 years.
Okay, there you go. I knew something like that.
They have a large episode base, and yeah, this show will just be on forever.
Yeah, exactly. Which makes this part really awkward, because what if it does go into syndication, the show is actually canceled as new episodes and just keep running them randomly every couple of years you get, by the way, it was canceled.
I presume they would edit it out then, but yeah.
But that would be awkward if they kept that in,
It would be, yes.
Wait, what happened now?
Then immediately followed by, next time on Dave Dragon.
Yeah, exactly. He also mentions during this bit at the end that he's making his final public appearance at, you guessed it, Mega Mountain. Who would have guessed Mega Mountain plays such a big part in Three Ninjas, High Noon at Mega Mountain? There's so much promotion for Mega Mountain that you would think it's an actual park named Mega Mountain, like a Disney thing, or like, you know, Danger at Epcot or something. So like, wow, watch the movie, then go here. But no, it's a real park. They dressed up as something else. I really don't understand why there's so much promotion for a semi-fictional location. Also, final public appearance? Is he retiring to Oklahoma or something? Look, I don't say this judgmentally, but as someone who watches a lot of movies in the 80s and 90s. I know it happens to people that don't act regularly from those. They go to convention circuit for the rest of their lives. They make good money. They meet fans. It's not a negative thing at all. But they don't go, well, my show was on, so I'm just going to leave and move to an island somewhere in Hawaii and never be seen again. Most of them, you will see them several times a year on the circuit.
That is fair, yes.
Part of the joke of the Tum Tum character, again, we're in the third actor to play him, correct? It's the third Tum Tum?
I believe so, yes, yeah. Because he was one of the ones recast for film 2 that is actually 3.
That's right, yeah, okay.
And then it's a different actor again playing him in this film.
Yeah, so the joke of Tum Tum is that he only thinks with his stomach or his tum tum. Ha ha ha. However, the kid playing Tum Tum in this movie is super tiny.
He is the smallest kid that you have probably ever seen in film, short of the kid in Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, it's on par with that, honestly. So you would think like the joke is it's a heavyset kid or just a large kid for his age, but it's clearly a small, well, it looks like a small kid for his age.
Yes.
Or he's a younger actor playing older, which could also be the case. So the mom makes him this giant sandwich, like a Dagwood style sandwich, or what I hope people under 40 get. But, go with that anyways. And he's so sad because all these things in his life are going wrong at once that he won't eat the sandwich. And I guess mom just puts it back in the fridge. That or spends 20 minutes taking it apart again.
The thing is like the size of his head.
Yes. And it's apparently his favorite as well because he's trying to make him feel better.
Yeah. I think the joke lands better if either you keep that up and actually do show him continually like eating things and just lean into the absurdity.
Yeah.
Or if they had stripped back the original gag from the original films and just made it that he thinks about candy all the time instead of food in general.
Yeah, sure.
But instead they try and keep kind of the gag of him having a huge regular appetite as well, but they don't actually really use it beyond this scene. Other than this scene, the only things he talks about wanting to eat are like cake and candy.
Yeah, I was going to say, does he eat at any point during the movie?
I don't think so. I don't think even at like Dave Dragon's show that he's shown with any food.
No, I don't believe so either. It's very weird.
The other funny thing with this scene, so Dave Dragon's philosophy is the way of the closed fist.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what the elements of it are, but it's like, standard kids show stuff.
Yeah.
But number one, ironically, closed fist is the more selfish or evil path in BioWare's action RPG Jade Empire.
Yeah.
The other thing that's funny is he demonstrates his way of the closed fist by doing his, like karate punch gesture with his fist closed. But then while he's listing off the elements of the philosophy, he slowly opens his fist one finger at a time. So it's more like the way of the unfolding fist, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You should really just like hold the hand out straight, like palm forward, list them as you close your fist, and then you should even like pull back or something.
Exactly. Yeah. He should be starting with an open hand and closing the fist one finger at a time.
Yeah. Generally, when they give a closed fist, that means you're going to be violent and you're going to attack somebody. The open hand is acceptance and try to not start a fight and sort of de-escalate. Whereas the closed fist is like, well, we're fighting and just immediately clenching it tightly and then punching it.
Yeah.
So unless the closed fist and the clenched fist are different somehow, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think probably someone just was like, what gesture can we have him do? Oh, this will work. It kind of looks cool. And then did everything from there.
Yeah. If you want to really annoy Ric Flair, you could have given him 4 things and had him just do the 4 horsemen sign. Just flash that on screen.
Oh my gosh, I would have loved that so much.
Even like have him woo. That'd be funny. We cut from this sad moment of a kid to back on the boat. Jim Varney is laying out the plans to strike and take over the target. Can you guess what the target is? I mean, hopefully you can.
Just to lay down a marker here. In this scene, Jim Varney's Lothar comes off as a very capable second in command to Medusa. He looks really capable and really in control and really well organized.
Yeah, the voice of reason, basically.
Yeah, just bear that in mind.
Back at home, because we're jumping across time and space and various locations so much during this part.
Yes.
It is apparently the next day, as far as I can tell, the day of Tum Tum's birthday. They have new neighbors moving in. Hijinks ensue, however, when one of the girls that time to be moving in decides to take her drone, which is a like full-sized drone helicopter. So he loses control because someone like goes by her on a skateboard, I believe, right?
She has to dodge a skateboarder and she trips and drops her controller.
Yes.
And it like seems like it gets broken or loses connection or something like that during it.
So her helicopter drone, which also has smoke coming out the back, so it's got like a real engine in it, crashes through the window of our hero's house. What a surprise. The mother, who was, of course, talking to the mother of the new family, sees this and invites her in for breakfast. And we learn she has made gadgets, which certainly won't come into play later. That's for sure.
Yeah, Colt gets to experiment with a yo-yo that she made.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm going to do a loop-the-loop trick. So he starts it, and he throws the yo-yo out. It wraps around his mom's lamp. And then, obviously, like an insane person, he's like, well, the best thing I should do in this situation is pull on it.
Yeah, just yank it back towards my face.
Yeah. It's like, you don't even need that to be the weird special effects bladed yo-yo that it is for that to go wrong. It's just Colt being an idiot.
That's true, yes. And of course, after all of that, they invite her to Tum Tum's birthday. Because why not? Mom drops a group off a mega mountain and leaves? She's not going with them?
It's so strange, isn't it?
Yeah, what? Look, I get that Colt's supposed to be like, I don't know if they say his age.
I think Rocky is 15, Colt is like 13 or 14 or something, and then Tum Tum is supposed to be, I think, like 9 or 10.
Yeah, so okay, so they have one kid who's about 15, and he's with his girlfriend and like their friends. But you don't just leave them at a park. It's like, what, you give them like $100 and just left them? And also, they're going for Tum Tum's birthday. So I guess the plan is to come back later and have his birthday?
Yeah, it's implied that they'll come back and meet them at the park later, and I guess that it's just like, well, you don't want the grown-ups around. But just to analyze for a moment the weirdness of this whole segment. So, Tum Tum, for your birthday, just go to an amusement park with your 2 older brothers who blatantly don't want to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
An older girl that you literally just met.
Uh-huh.
And some of your eldest brother's friends, as well as some of his classmates who don't even like him.
Uh-huh.
And absolutely 0 kids your own age.
Yes.
At all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and your mom and dad and grandpa aren't even here and will pick you up at 5, despite grandpa saying he was going to come with you like 4 scenes ago.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, he does tell Tum Tum he's going with them, and then he's not there.
Yeah, he says, I'll be there, which, I mean, I guess if you say they're going to meet for a formal party at the park later, then maybe that's still fulfilled. But it's just, this is one of many moments where it feels like the movie does not watch itself.
Yeah. Now, in his defense, he is a ninja, so it could be like a suspicious bush. Like suspicious bush in like the background of one shot, and that's actually him.
You know, that would make this entire movie instantly better if throughout the entire film, you just have shots of Grandpa Maury hidden in various innocuous places and as things in the environment and stuff, subtly taking out some of the bad guys.
That would be good, yeah. As noted, in the park, Rocky meets up with his girlfriend and his other friends. So that leads to a separation in the group where Colt, Amanda, and Tum Tum break off because they don't hang out with those older teens. They want to go to this park they've presumably never been to by themselves. We then cut to the bad guys going down the water towards somewhere on jet skis. They then do a little sort of jump and sort of nose tip on their jet skis, and suddenly they're on completely different devices now.
Yeah.
The one where they hold onto the back, it's got an engine and sort of moves you around.
That was so weird. Like, are we supposed to gather that the jet skis transformed into these things, or?
That's the implication, yeah.
That was so strange. Like, why they didn't just have them park the jet skis and dive off. They can just swim. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, and they could just ride the jet skis into the big tunnel opening they're going into anyways.
Yeah, true. It's above the water.
Yeah.
Later in the film, we see it's above the water.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
As I'm sure you suspected, their target is Mega Mountain. They break into the massive sewer complex of this place. Now, granted, it's a theme park that holds hundreds of people. You imagine there's some big sewers, but this is like a whole like villain lair under the place. It feels like way too big amount of pipes and space to be underneath this place.
Gotta have a lot of crappers, Al.
Yeah. They also put on matching sunglasses because reasons.
Yeah, this looks less suspicious somehow.
Yeah. So the idea is, I guess, we're all going to wear these matching silver framed glasses. So I guess if I look across the park and I see somebody, as if I don't know my person I work with on my team, I go, oh, those glasses. Hopefully no one else bought these exact same glasses that are publicly sold.
Yeah.
I think that could be a plot point, but no.
As they're starting to exit the tunnel, Lothar does not have his sunglasses on. In the very next shot, as they're exiting into the sunlight, he has them on,
Yeah.
but then he immediately removes them.
Yeah. There's also a big reveal where we finally see the true villain of this movie, and it's Lonnie Anderson. Yeah, we knew that. She has second billing in the film.
Yes.
What's with all this buildup and disguising of, like, teasing her appearance like it's some big deal? I don't get it. We get a log montage I call the Fun at the Park montage.
Yep.
Which is just actual footage of people at this real park. Occasionally you'll see the signs changed out because they have named places for the fictional Mega Mountain, but sometimes in the background of the shots you'll see the real sign because they didn't do all the work. It's a lot of work, changed all the signs all the time for, like, I don't know, 2-3 days or how long they shot this movie there. So sometimes it's fixed, sometimes it's not.
That did look like a very fun sequence to film.
Sure.
It seemed like the kids got to actually go on the rides and just have some theme park fun. That probably was a fun filming day.
Sure, yeah.
Did you catch the bit with Rocky and Jennifer, his friend, at the caricature booth?
Oh, yeah, what was some weird about that wasn't there?
Yeah, when the camera pans to her, she is making the strangest face.
Yeah.
And all I can figure is maybe she had something in her teeth and didn't realize they were actually going to pan to her.
Mm-hmm.
It is the most bizarre expression that she's doing. She's like got her tongue up against her teeth or something. It's not what the guy is painting or anything. So
no, yeah.
Very strange.
Inside the park, after all that, we see the group united. And mind you, they are walking in a massive group together through the park, which is already suspicious. But then Lonnie Anderson's disguise is a nun.
Yes. Still with her gigantic earrings, by the way, which is something all nuns definitely wear all the time in their nuns' habits, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so a group of like 40 people walking in a big cluster, led by a nun. Also, there's a Rastafarian guy, and Jim Varney. It's like, yeah, none of this will raise suspicion whatsoever.
During this bit, Lothar alerts Medusa to Dave Dragon's show and specifically says that guy could cause some problems, being, after all, a muscle-bound pro wrestler, kids action show hero.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So our first match is Dave Dragon and the Star Force 5 versus generic stage show bad guys. The referee for this one is the Dave Dragon logo.
Yeah.
Dave's oddly dressed Star Force starts off against some generic denim-clad bad guys. The Star Force look like low-budget Power Rangers, dressed in colorful karate safety gear with masks.
Yes.
They do acrobatics and spin kicks. Then, an obvious stuntman who bears a passing resemblance to Hulk Hogan comes in by zip line, kicks a couple thugs mid-zip, poses, and transforms into Dave Dragon during a puff of smoke. Dragon is several inches taller. Dragon decimates the generic bad guys with wrestling moves rather than martial arts as the crowd applauds. Thoughts on that one?
It's just weird that he's like doing a press slam to a guy in a karate stage show.
Yes.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, I'm a little confused about Dragon's entrance. I'm guessing they just wanted to pull in a transforming hero concept, but I don't know why they didn't just have Dragon do the zipline part too.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not that scary. I'm pretty sure Hogan would be fine doing it.
Yeah, I imagine so. I mean, Sting can those rafters like that, and Shawn Michaels can ride a zipline. Why can't you?
Yeah. Otherwise, this honestly did look like a fun enough stage show concept. The Star Force 5 segment at the start is actually a little bit more impressive than Dave Dragon's bits, as there's more acrobatics.
Mm-hmm.
But Dragon does fit the kid show hero concept quite well.
It's funny, with his short hair and his mustache, and actually generally the way he's dressed, he reminds me a lot of Chuck Norris' Karate Commandos.
I would imagine that's exactly the kind of thing they were going for, yeah.
It's just funny of all the things to emulate, that's when you pick.
Mm-hmm.
So the key to all that is that we have our younger group, Colt, Amanda, and Tum Tum, watching this show. Meanwhile, the actual goons are taking over the park, and they're doing it in about the least subtle way possible. The idea is that they're coming in, they're grabbing like the random people that run the attractions or like the food booths or any of that stuff, and they're basically just grabbing them, pulling them behind doors or behind corners, while people are nearby, like people like up there getting their picture from like a ride, and they just yank the guy off, and a different guy walks over wearing sunglasses, and no one says anything apparently.
There's literally one point where there's a lady that like welcomes someone in through a ticket booth. The person she welcomed in is just barely getting off camera, and the camera pans up. You hear the woman scream.
Yeah.
And then the camera pans down, and the bad guy is in her place. And I'm just thinking, like, we know for sure that at least one person, if not many, were in range of hearing that scream very easily.
Yes.
Also, several of them, like, all of this is allegedly stealthy, but then several of them are actually shown just blatantly wielding assault rifles and, like, using those to pin doors shut and things like that. And, like, that's not subtle at all.
Yeah, people like walk by a booth, go to the bathroom, see a assault rifle wedging a door shut. Yeah, no big deal.
They're knocking people out in broad daylight, right in the open, grabbing them in front of the rides, which are still active.
Yep.
So yeah, at the very least, everyone on the ride and probably everyone walking by in a park filled with hundreds or thousands of people would see everything that's going on here.
Yeah. You also assume for this plot that all of the people that were picked to take over the places were then trained to run the rides.
Yeah.
That's extra preppy besides, planning the actual assault and your break-in and all this stuff is also teaching them how to run a tilt-a-whirl and all these kind of things. How to run a popcorn machine, Also, as part of this, they close the ticket booth and lock up the front. This is to keep people from entering the park or exiting the park. Why people are leaving the park at what appears to be noon is anyone's guess. Its implication is supposed to be they've been in the park all day, and it's like 3, 4 p.m. and they're locking the place down. It's clearly not. Maybe some people leave for lunch, depending on how some of these parks work. Could be like a hand stamp, but it's just weird that people are actively leaving the park at this point, and they lock them. They both lock them in and then keep people from entering as well. And to get in the operations center, they walk up to the door because the guy's behind as a camera pointed at it, and they wave to him. And the guy in the operations center somehow trusts the group of a nun, a Rastafarian, and matching goons, and lets them in, and they take over. I assume, no matter how this plays out, he is extremely fired.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
You could argue maybe they could have forced their way in later, but he let them in, and this caused all of the problems.
Yeah. If you had at least had them do something like bring a patron to the door and threaten to shoot them if they weren't let in or something like that, then you'd have an excuse. But he's literally like, oh, it's a suspicious looking nun and a group of like 20 or 30 people or something, some absurd number of people.
It's a lot of people, yeah.
And she's like claiming to be from a Catholic hospital, but she's dressed as a nun and the rest of the people are just like random people. She hasn't like bothered to have them dress in suits or dress as doctors or, any of that stuff that would make this look less suspicious. So yeah, it's really weird.
Not at all. Yeah.
I did kind of like her I'm taking up a collection quip as she pulls her gun on him, though.
There's some good quips throughout the movie, yeah.
Much less sensible is almost immediately afterwards when they're taking over the control room, she quotes the Miranda rights warning.
Oh, yeah. What?
I'm like, neither you nor any of these people are cops. How is this a reference?
True. So now they're in the control center. They force the crew in there to leave and go somewhere. They just, I guess, leave the control center, but also the front doors are locked. So where are they going?
Glue factory.
And and now they control Mega Mountain.
Why is that room so science fiction looking?
Yeah.
It looks like it could be on like a planetary base on Star Trek.
It does, yeah, doesn't it?
And the hacking method they use, by the way, is one guy opens a computer system and literally shoots the circuit boards with a pistol.
Yes.
And then the Rastafarian guy, who's their hacker, CJ, sticks a 3.5-inch floppy disk into the system and taps a couple keys, and he's just immediately in.
Mm-hmm.
Another question.
Yeah.
Why does he need his own system to run the park and view the camera feeds? Because he sets up like his system to do that.
Yeah.
When they just took over the control room that is used to run the park and view the camera feeds.
You would think like if they disabled the control rooms, like now you can't do anything and we're like a different location and we're controlling things. That would make sense.
Yeah.
We destroyed the access for everyone else and we have control directly. That makes sense.
All I can figure is the guy that shot the thing wasn't supposed to do that and screwed it up. So he had to be like, oh crap, what do I do? Pull out my own system that I happen to have.
Yes.
There's like no sensible explanation in the story for why they're doing all this. Like, I've got my own stuff instead of just saying that I hacked their equipment and am using their equipment.
Yeah. Our villain, Ernest, proceeds to use what amounts to Zoom to call up the guy who owns the park, apparently, on his like personal computer at his home.
Yes.
And remember, this is shot in 1996. It is like seamless audio and video across a large area of space and off the internet on, AOL dial-up at this point. And there are many things in this movie that makes little sense, but this is definitely, I gotta be top 10 for me.
It'd be fine if she just like sent him a video message and he played it and was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But didn't have to have a conversation with her. But yeah, like I know there were video phones at the time that were really crappy, but there was nothing at this point that was working that smoothly with like a full video call, definitely.
Yeah. The whole point of that scene, by the way, is that they are now controlling the park and they contact the owner to blackmail him saying you got to pay us a bunch of money or we'll make something really bad happen and somehow that will affect you negatively because of the stock you're trading in or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't go, oh, we'll kill somebody. Oh, no, I feel bad. They're like, we're going to ruin your reputation by having bad guys take over the park against your will, and that'll make people hate you, I guess.
Yeah, the wording of this scene is such that it sounds like what they're going to do is make people think that everything bad that happens is a ride accident, an equipment failure. That's what it sounds like she's threatening him with, is like people will feel that Mega Mountain is unsafe. But at this point, they've already blatantly taken over with guns. There's going to be tons of people who can testify to this. It's all over security footage, which admittedly, sure, that they might be able to wipe. But there's hundreds, if not thousands of witnesses that will be able to testify that this was an armed military group taking over an amusement park. No one expects an amusement park to have a security team capable of taking on a full paramilitary organization, right? So
no.
Nothing's going to come back on this guy.
No, exactly. Again, if their plan was to sneak into the nearby area, take over the control room, and cause this stuff to happen, so people could go, oh, well, look what happened under their watch. Yeah, it would make sense, but they blatantly take over, and then he's got to pay them ransom, as we see later, in the middle of the park. So, yeah. Even in the best case scenario, this plot makes no sense.
They just, again, did not have the people writing this film talking to each other about what was going on.
Yeah, it seems like it.
If you don't need him to be sketchy at all, then the basic plot works. You just have them call him, threaten him, say, we're going to kill a bunch of people. And he's like, oh my gosh. And all you need them to have said is, don't call the cops. And that gives them the cover for the early part of the film. That's fine. But the fact that they're like making it sound like we're going to damage your reputation or we're going to damage your part's reputation or stuff. And you kind of have this implication in this scene that he's sketchy or at least a annoying, greedy, rich person.
Yeah.
They're like setting him up almost like he's going to be like a secondary antagonist to the film. But they don't really go there.
No, they don't. So as part of the bizarre ending of this movie, after all that happens, we suddenly cut to the end of Dave Dragon's stunt show. Apparently it's into its fifth hour. Because how long did that park take place? Because that happened during his stage show.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess, obviously we're seeing a bunch of different things that are happening at the same time as well.
But still, they take over a good chunk of the park.
Yeah, it feels like that's quite a lot of things that have happened during this stage show. I mean, it is Hogan.
Right.
So he probably spent roughly a half an hour posing after his victory, but,
Oh, well, there might have been a bear hug spot, probably.
Oh, good gosh, yeah. I mean, and like everyone there just lost consciousness for a while at that, so.
Yeah, it goes in a fugue state for a bit, yeah. So now that the show is over, Tum Tum and Colt decide, hey, let's go get his autograph.
Amanda stayed behind, very awkwardly drinking soda. This poor girl, no one told her what to do with her soda can, how to drink it, apparently.
You see like the famous guy playing the goon in Samurai Cop, where he's sitting there, he's like holding his pistol, and he's just rubbing the pistol over and over again, the entire scene.
Yeah, she is literally drinking it like she's drinking tea at a Japanese tea ceremony. It is the funniest thing.
Backstage, we learn that Dave Dragon is wearing a toupee.
I don't get why. This is the only scene he's shown without it.
Yeah, I was going to get into that later. It's weird that it's a plot point. He's secretly wearing this toupee as part of a look. It doesn't really come up again any way you would think it would based on this.
Yeah, I don't know if people were just like, well, everyone knows Hogan's bald, so we can't have the character have hair. Or if they were just like, we need a shorthand for him being an aging action star, maybe. And that kind of works for that. But what's weird about how they use it is that he takes it off backstage and he treats it as like, I'm removing my wig and therefore I'm removing my character. I'm like saying goodbye to the character. But Like, if I were doing that scene, I would have used the closed fist logo that he's wearing on his chest.
Mm-hmm.
That's more directly connected to, like, the character and his philosophy and everything. So that, I think, would have been a more way of doing, like, a heartfelt moment.
I can see that, yeah. Right on cue, Varney and a couple of his goons show up. They knock him out with the invisible dart gun. They clearly fired supposed to be a dart gun at him, and then he falls over and there's no dart in his neck.
It's so weird because we'll see a trank dart in someone's neck later from a similar thing. And, like, did they only buy one and they forgot to carry it between the spots?
Yeah, because it's a really easy effect to fake. You just cut someone holding a fake gun, and you put the little dunk sound or whatever the sound for a dart gun, the air compression sound, and they cut him with his hand on his neck, holding a dart with nothing on it up against the area, not making contact whatsoever, and then he falls over.
Yeah, and they do all of that except for him actually having the dart there.
Yeah, so he gets shot with the dart gun, and apparently falls over, and then it disappears. Tum Tum and Colt happen to go backstage for the autograph right as this happens, and they run off. Amanda, of course, is not around because she's drinking her soda tea, I guess. Nobody in the park seems to mind that two children are being chased by grown adults. At least they're holding machine guns. That's something, I suppose. But, of course, Amanda sees this happen, and she goes, wait, what's going on? These people I barely know are suddenly being chased by a bunch of strangers. At least she cares.
Yes.
All of the adults have no interest whatsoever. You could have explained that slightly if you had one scene where, like, they run past the group of people, and one of the adults sees it, and he goes, like, tells the person at the booth, hey, something's happening, and you pan over and see it's one of the goons. And he, like, shuts the shutter at him now or something, he doesn't care.
Or just even have one or more of the people chasing the kids be explicitly dressed as park security.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, these kids must have stolen something or something like that, and they're being pursued by park security.
They could say, like, come back here, shoplifter, or something.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
They seem really interested in their cover, but then also not at all interested in their cover. It's very inconsistent.
Also, just to note, they came here explicitly to deal with Dave Dragon.
Yeah.
Lothar, like, is worried about this guy because even though he's a stage show star, he's big and muscly and everything. So he's like, we got to capture Dave Dragon.
Yeah.
They shoot him with a tranquilizer dart.
Uh-huh.
Two children show up, and every bad guy there except for Lothar gives pursuit.
Yeah.
Instead of staying around the large muscular man that there is no way in hell that Lothar is going to be able to move on his own.
Yeah. Again, they are master planners and terrible planners at the same time.
Yes.
Also worth noting that Rocky happens to be near a booth where apparently they have video feed facing out for everyone to see at the park. Because that's a thing they do at a park.
It's a lost and found stand. Why does this have a video booth at all?
Yeah, that's right. He's at lost and found stand looking for, like, something his girlfriend dropped. I forget what
her purse, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Girlfriend drops her purse, and he's there at lost and found. And there are several cameras facing towards the front. And he sees his brother's being chased and runs off. Also worth noting, the guy at lost and found has not been replaced by a goon.
No, yeah.
So the whole thing works because he's in front of the one guy they didn't replace, apparently. Because otherwise, he would have just shut the booth and would have ignored him, and he would never find out what happened.
Well, it works because of that, and it doesn't work because of that, because the guy, for some reason, has security monitors at his lost and found station desk, and presumably would have been seeing some of the weird things going on, or at the very least, this chase that's visibly going on his security monitors with, by the way, movie-like camera pans and everything.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Which is the stupid thing that keeps happening in films, that for some reason people don't think of the fact that a security camera would be a static or at least constantly panning shot.
Yeah.
Not a one with like cuts and actual zooms and stuff when they do this stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's either too much good things for the heroes because he hasn't been replaced, or too little good things for the heroes because he hasn't been replaced.
Exactly. So our heroes run towards a backstage area of a Old West stunt show.
Colt and Tum Tum get cornered by the quite ridiculous bad guys, one of which is trying a very poor foreign accent, and the other two of which have Big Dog written very poorly on their hands, like it's supposed to be finger tattoos, but they just wrote it 3 seconds earlier in Sharpie.
Ah, gotcha.
They all take off their tourist clothes to show that they are ninjas, but not like cool ones.
No. Oh, God, no.
I love that they all had tearaway pants, because of course they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Our second match is Colt and Tum Tum versus the inbred hick ninjas. The referee is a cowboy who kind of resembles Jeff Jarrett.
Yep.
He really does.
Oh, no, he does. 100%, yeah.
Colt uses Tum Tum as a weapon and lands a few good strikes, then evades up a ladder as we see that on the other side, the cowboy stage show is on. Colt eats an uppercut, but acrobatically evades other strikes, gets henchman 1 stuck in the ladder, and lands kicks, evading the leader. The leader gets annoyed with his stuck henchman and decks him. Tum Tum evades henchman 2 in a costume tent and kicks him in the shin, then hides among the costumes. Henchman 2 finds him and screams like he just saw a xenomorph. So Tum Tum boots him in the nose and disappears again because Ninja Kid.
Mm-hmm.
Henchman 1 somehow got free, and Colt jumps over a table and slugs him, then flees, and when Henchman 1 climbs atop to follow him, Colt kicks the table's leg out of its leg. Cut to the stage show, where the Jeff Jarrett-looking cowboy, despite being shot earlier for a stunt fall, is now hanging another cowboy. They do the tombstone pizza joke that you'd expect, and even the movie's own audience criticizes it.
Yeah.
The show is interrupted by the leader coming flying through one of the windows like he was shot by a cannon, and Colt and Henchman 1 come through a moment later with Colt dodging strikes, landing his own, and wrenching on the guy's nose. He hits a complex falling kick and kips up. Colt escapes to the roof with a superhuman leap. The soundtrack, by the way, is the most generic heroic fanfare that you will ever hear, with absolutely zero martial arts movie influence. It is incessant.
Yeah, like 90% of this movie is generic stock music number 12.
It's really, really bad.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tum Tum scares the crap out of Henchman 2 again and somehow punches him so hard he falls back over the edge of the costume area. In fairness, it could be less impact than surprise and being off balance, but still. Henchman 1 climbs the ladder to try to get Colt, but Tum Tum and Henchman 2 appear, and Tum Tum boots Henchman 2 in the nuts, twice, knocking him into the ladder, which falls, and Henchman 1 lands on the leader. The cowboy stage actors finally try to apprehend the bad guys who have been trying to assault children on their set, and get their butts kicked.
No rush, really. It's fine. Yeah.
Amanda tells Rocky where his brothers are, and then looks thoughtful. Colt kicks the crap out of Henchman 1 on the balcony, while Tum Tum apparently hypnotizes Henchman 2 by spinning a bag.
Yeah.
Then KOs him with it, but gets grabbed by the leader, only for Rocky to make an unnecessarily acrobatic entrance over the fence and hit a jump kick to the leader, then do a brotherly high five with Tum Tum. Colt sidekicks Henchman 1 off the balcony and hits a flipping senton onto him. Tum Tum throws a sandbag onto Henchman 2 and jumps on it, then somehow knocks him out by slapping his cheeks. Even Tum Tum looks a little confused by that one, checking if the guy is actually out. Rocky blocks several punches by the leader, swings over a wooden bar and lands a punch, a kick, and a double kick to knock him out, and Colt slugs Henchman 1. The brothers share high fives, and Cowboy Jeff Jarrett and his buddies lasso the 3 bad guys and drag them off as the crowd cheers. The boys bow, but Amanda runs up and tells them they've got to see something. Thoughts on this one?
Other than the Tum Tum stuff, it was pretty good. I liked the slight more intricacy for them. It's the first time really seeing 2 of the 3 leads really actually do something other than sort of reacting, the training a bit earlier or the dodging and that kind of stuff. It's nice to see what they're actually able to do on camera without using doubles, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
The henchmen are basically just there to get hit most of the time. Training dummies that have faces on them for the most part.
Yes.
So it's not like what we'll get later where it actually seems like an attempt at doing a real fight, but it's pretty enjoyable.
Yeah. Considering this is the 4th film in a declining franchise, I did not expect the fight choreography to be this elaborate.
Mm-hmm.
There's some pretty decent stunts in this fight, and while I am sure there are some stuntmen involved in this, and there's some shots where they're likely hiding one of the characters' faces to hide a switch, the kids actually do pull off a fair amount of this fight choreography themselves, which is really impressive.
Oh, yeah.
The concept of this taking place at a stage show and being mistaken for the show is fun. Not particularly original, but fun. Though it makes less sense that the cowboys just kind of start acting that way too, rather than, say, calling security because thugs are assaulting children on their set.
Yeah, I think it could have worked a little better if somehow, as part of the fight, they put on like a cowboy hat or a vest or something. So that looks more like part of the show than 3 people that are just clearly attending the park in a fight scene with 3 ninjas there.
Yeah.
Not the 3 ninjas, just to be clear.
Yes.
Different ninjas that are also a trio.
Admittedly, it would have gone worse for the boys if the cowboys did call security, considering security is probably now mostly disguised bad guys, but still.
Yeah.
The trouble that we see in this and other fights in the film is they can't really decide how much damage the kids should be able to inflict. So they have some very good moments in this where the kids use their surroundings in kind of like a Jackie Chan style to get the advantage against larger, stronger opponents, like Colt getting the henchman caught in the ladder and breaking the table leg to dump one over. But then they have other moments where they just land normal strikes that are sold like serious hits.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, this series did use the concept of pressure points in the first movie to let the kids take down a big guy, but there's a difference between that and pure impact.
Yeah.
And this is sold as pure impact. Tum Tum's parts in particular are the toughest to take seriously. He is very, very small.
Yes, yeah.
And his unaided strikes have a large impact. Colt seems choreographed more sensibly, with him needing an array of strikes, a clever trick, or an off-balance target to do significant damage.
Mm-hmm.
And he also seems to do the best at the martial arts performance overall, I think.
Yeah, at this point for sure, I would put him tops, yeah.
Rocky was only involved a little, but his part was fine, if a little over-acrobatic.
Mm-hmm.
So all told, this was better than I expecting, but I think we are seeing some of the things I'll identify as problems in the film.
Yeah, that's fair. After the fight, they see all the other bad guys around the park on the cameras. Because, they would leave the cameras running, the bad guys would. So I guess they could see each other? Why would you lead them on?
For evidence of how bad the park owner is, that he let people with assault rifles take over, I guess. I don't know.
Sure, that makes sense. Why not?
What's funny when Amanda leads them into that booth, by the way, so she came in earlier and saw what had happened. She saw that this guard at the station is knocked out with a tranquilizer dart.
Mm-hmm.
She proceeds to lead the boys into the room and stop dead in her tracks when she runs in, like it's the first time she's seeing that.
That's true.
They have not given this poor girl clear direction on what she's supposed to do in like any of her scenes.
Yeah, or they shot stuff out of order and then didn't fix it in post.
Probably, yeah.
So he did the only natural thing, which is to go revive Dave. After all, his track record is great so far. Dave, of course, is the adult, and he goes, well, you're kids, because he'd see all the fighting, and he goes, I'll take care of it. Which, I mean, to be fair, even if he'd seen them fighting, it still kind of makes sense that he would do that.
At this stage in the film, there's no problem with having this adult be doubting of children's abilities to help out and protective of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is what a responsible adult should probably be doing, right?
Exactly, yes.
But question for you. Where did Lothar go?
Yeah.
His entire goal was to capture this man.
Yes, yeah. I think next time we see him, he's in the control room, I believe.
But literally, his entire goal was to capture this specific man. He knocked him out with a tranquilizer dart and then just left him on the floor where anyone could walk by and, wake him up. Didn't put him in a closet, didn't lock him up, tie him up on anything, didn't drag him back to the control room, did absolutely nothing to prevent Dave Dragon from eventually waking up and causing them problems. I get why they don't kill him. This is a children's movie.
Of course, yeah.
I can accept that logical slip because we don't want to see people actually die on screen in a children's movie. But they build up that Lothar specifically wants to deal with this guy, and he does not deal with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he leaves a walkie-talkie there.
Yes, yeah.
Capability rating declining rapidly.
Absolutely, yes. As mentioned, they leave a radio behind, the bad guys do, so our heroes do the logical thing and call in a fire.
Their discussion leading up to that, I feel, bears noting.
Okay.
They are acting all nervous, especially Rocky is acting like really, really nervous about their possibility of taking on the bad guys by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what can we do? What can we do type of stuff. This is the fourth film in the franchise.
Yeah.
They have already resolved 3 major crimes.
Yeah.
One of which was an arms dealer.
Yeah.
Who was literally shooting people in the movie. The first film does have people actually getting shot.
Mm-hmm.
One of the 2 or 3, whichever order you take them in, is them battling a polluting company, and the other is a violent treasure hunter, basically.
Okay.
But it's 3 reasonably major things. Yeah, it wasn't like a whole amusement park taken hostage or anything, but they feel significantly less sure of themselves than they should, I think, in this.
Yeah.
And also, they're all like, who's going to believe us? We're kids. Yes, you are 3 kids who have already resolved 3 major crimes and whose dad is an FBI agent.
Yeah.
You could just call that frequency that you say you're going to call and say, hey, it's Sam Douglas's kids. Some bad guys took over the Mega Mountain Amusement Park. Could you tell our dad, please?
I mean, you know your dad's, like, I wouldn't say badge number is a police thing, but you know his ID
Yeah.
or something to prove that he's the FBI agent.
Yeah, and also, like, 3 children randomly knowing the name of a specific FBI agent would be pretty unlikely.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think that in and of itself probably would be like, yeah, we should probably at least call him and see where his kids are.
Yeah, exactly.
And he probably mentioned to someone at the office that, oh, yeah, my son's having a birthday party at Mega Mountain today.
Yeah.
You know, there's dozens of ways that this works out better than their extremely stupid resolution of Tum Tum yelling fire and nothing else into a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, so this leads to a whole bunch of cops and firemen all showing up at the park. This is Die Hard now, so the goons keep the cops at bay with gunfire. However, this is PG Die Hard, so nobody's actually wounded or hit any way, shape, or form.
There's one shot where the cops are approaching the entrance gate, and the goons have them like in a confined group because they're like stacking up to start entering.
Yeah.
And visibly like level the gun directly at them and fire. They do not try to make it look like they're firing warning shots or anything. It's the Universal Soldier The Return shot where Goldberg just like mows down a crowd of security guards.
Oh, yeah.
Except in this case, none of the cops get hit at all.
Oh, so it's like Terminator 2 where he's firing the big chain gun hitting nobody.
Basically.
He has this little HUD on screen that's showing how like 0 fatalities. So after he's been reprogrammed, he's firing around them because he's an advanced robot and can do that.
Yeah. Also, the fire trucks that pull up, did you catch they're 2 completely different designs?
I thought someone looked about those, yeah.
One of them looks almost antique. It's really interesting.
Yeah, we only got 4 new fire trucks, so just whatever you got left, we'll take.
Pretty much.
I guess. To your point earlier, this threat eventually goes all the way up to the FBI. Naturally. And the dad is called. Back inside the park, our gang decide that they have to take care of the situation while they can, hearing all the gunfire, and certainly seeing some of this on the cameras they were watching earlier.
When their dad gets there, Medusa calls to the cops because she had been like, no cops and everything. So she says like, now there's going to be consequences. And she has CJ increase the speed of a ride by 20% to demonstrate she's got control.
Yes, correct.
Which he does, by the way, by setting a dial that's marked temperature set.
Oh, it runs hotter that way.
There you go. Yeah. Turns up the coal furnace, I guess, right? That's powering the ride.
Yeah.
Anyway, while she's doing that, the kids are on the same frequency because I guess it's the frequency that the FBI uses, basically.
Sure.
That she's using. So they overhear that, and that's why they're like, we need to do something.
Conveniently, of course, Amanda brought a bunch of gadgets with them. So they divvy those up like Q in a Bond movie, and those will probably pay off at some point later.
After their discussion, the kids decide to go try to save the people on the ride, feeling that this is partially their fault for getting the police involved. That brings us to our next match. Notably, the ride at first seemed to be being controlled directly by CJ, but now it seems to be being controlled directly by the guy that's actually at the ride station itself. So kind of weird that they didn't just have him do that to begin with. They don't really need CJ's hacking for much in this movie.
No, not really. Yeah.
So our third match is the 3 ninjas, Rocky, Colt, and Tum Tum, versus Medusa's goons for the lives of the ride passengers. Referee, the ride machinery. If it fails, the match is definitely decided.
Yeah.
Tum Tum and Colt taunt the bad guys watching the out-of-control ride and get them to charge, at which point Rocky has Tum Tum throw a smoke bomb that Amanda invented, because apparently Tum Tum, literal ninja boy, does not know when it's good to use a smoke bomb.
No.
Colt jumps through the extremely underwhelming smoke and lands kicks to Goon 1 and Goon 2, then pins the ride operator to the wall by his shirt with a throwing card. To clarify, the ride operator is one of the goons as well.
Right.
The throwing card is another of Amanda's inventions. They're bladed, basically.
Yes.
It's kind of Odd Job's hat as a throwing card. Rocky blocks and dodges strikes from Goon 1 and uses a head scissors to lever him onto a banister and send him sliding down to crotch himself on a metal pole in the bottom. Meanwhile, Amanda sneaks towards the ride control room. Tum Tum scares the pinned operator by saying boo and punches him, and the man gets free and gives chase, only for Tum Tum to land a series of kicks, several of which are probably not being done by him, to his chest and face. The operator falls, and Tum Tum smugly asks why he used his head to hit Tum Tum's feet. Amanda gets to the ride controls and flips a few switches that apparently do nothing, then hits the emergency stop button, which freezes the ride instantly, apparently with the riders hanging upside down. Meanwhile, Colt blocks and dodges punches and kicks from Goon 2 and returns fire with his own kick combo, including what's basically the Liu Kang bicycle kick.
Oh, yeah.
Amanda instantly hacks the ride controls, like she literally attaches her computer and is in.
Yeah.
As Colt uses backflips to dodge a bunch of strikes, blocks some more, and lands a punch and a jumping split punch, ending up cockily posing doing the splits between handrails. Another Colt kick combo, and Goon 2 hops up on the handrail to dodge, so Colt kicks his leg out of his leg to send him off the railing to the gravel below, where he collapses. Rocky dodges strikes from Goon 1, also with a backflip, and whips out the yo-yo that Amanda invented, which Goon 1 stares at like a dummy until Rocky uses it to hit him in the face. No blades out at that point, though.
Yeah.
Goon 1 is knocked down, and Rocky lands another strike, which I guess knocked him out too.
Sure.
Amanda uses her computer to turn off the ride's power, which you would think would result in it stopping dead, like when she hit the emergency stop, but no, apparently that results in it slowly coming to a safe stop, like the ride was normally ending.
Sure.
The riders, who were probably just parkgoers filmed on a perfectly ordinary time on a perfectly ordinary ride, are mostly smiles like they just had fun on a perfectly ordinary thrill ride. Colt tells the ride operator not to think of escaping or he'll come back and deck him, because card deck, you see.
Ah, yeah.
Thoughts on this one?
Definitely a little more showy, which is nice. Obviously, if your movie is called Three Ninjas, you definitely want to have some of that. If you don't deliver on that, then what's the point? As weirdly low budget sometimes this movie looks, they have people really in earnest actually planning stuff out.
Mhm.
So even if the execution isn't always 100% great, at least there's really interesting creative ideas there. And you have the kids that can do a good chunk of it. Not to be convincing, it's not like suddenly cutting to the back of their heads every time they do anything interesting. So,
right.
Fair play.
Yeah, they do a generous amount of the action themselves, which is really much more than I was expecting for this film.
Yeah.
Once again, they have some pretty reasonable ideas for this scene and some quite good choreography, but they're quite inconsistent with the kids' abilities. Bicycle kick aside, I still like Colt's part of the scene the best. His way of taking out the bad guy was the best combination of martial arts and use of clever timing to make up for a size and weight disadvantage. And it makes sense that he would have enough power to knock the guy off of his already precarious balance on a handrail, and the fall is what KOs the guy, not a punch or kick from the kid.
Right.
Tum Tum directly managing to kick a guy into unconsciousness makes far less sense.
Yeah.
Rocky's part of the fight was fine, except for the guy just staring senselessly at a yo-yo like it was some kind of alien hypnosis device. It feels like, for this film in general, the choreographers generally had some really good concepts for how to make the kids capable of taking on adults, but just didn't apply it consistently, and just couldn't think of how to make it work with tiny little Tum Tum, so just threw up their hands and said, whatever, he just beats people up and it'll be funny, I guess.
Yeah.
Which it is, kind of, but when they're having the two older ones have to be a little bit clever about how they fight, it's weird that they didn't even remotely try that with the youngest.
Right, yeah.
It'd be one thing if this series used the mystic side of ninja lore, but it really doesn't that much.
No, not really.
The fight scenes just keep having these moments where suspension of disbelief fails spectacularly.
At this point, we are then introduced to the comic relief henchmen. I think they're supposed to be the cousins or nephews of Varney's character, I believe is the idea.
I think they're of Medusa.
Oh, okay, so yeah, that's right. They're Medusa's. Okay, gotcha. Quick introduction from them, since we didn't talk about them earlier. The one with the black hair is Brendan O'Brien. Most notably, he was the original voice of Crash Bandicoot. He's them in the first 5 or 6 games and appears in archival recordings in later games, such as when Crash Bandicoot appears as unlockable in a later Uncharted game.
Wow.
The one with the brown pointy hair is Kirk Bailey, who is most known to 90s kids as the counselor on Salute Your Shorts. Like O'Brien, he also did a lot of anime and cartoon voice acting as well. The bearded one of the group is Travis McKenna. He's one of those actors that appears in a million things in like a 10, 15-year period. Notably for me, he is credited as Fat Clown in Batman Returns.
Nice.
He also plays a corrupt sheriff in an episode of Quantum Leap.
Oh, okay.
He's one of those guys and you see him, you're like, I've seen him in something, and you probably have.
Yes, he seemed very familiar.
Yeah, if you watch TV and movies in this sort of 10, 15-year period around this one, you've seen him somewhere. They are seen waiting in line for a ride, which I guess is also being run by the gang, right? So why are they waiting in line?
Well, some of them are and some of them aren't, as we'll see in the later chase scene.
Yes.
There's some ride operators that were just left untouched. I guess they didn't want to take over that ride. I don't know.
Inconsistency is consistent in this movie.
Yes. Yeah.
While waiting in line and doing a classic trick of where you cut in line ahead of people and, then you sort of dare them to fight you, and of course no one does. They're interrupted by Varney, who shows up and berates them and tells them they gotta get into action because naturally the trained ninjas who couldn't take down these kids weren't as effective as these three dumb
Yes.
apparently.
The kids have at this point beaten up 6 of Medusa's presumably more competent henchmen. So why is she sending explicitly idiots after them? She literally calls them idiots.
Yeah. If she's somehow unaware of what's happening, and maybe if she thought Dave Dragon was beating them up, which would maybe work if there's no cameras, then okay, those 3 kids I saw causing issue. Let's send these idiots to go get them. But
she knows that she had 3 of her henchmen at that ride, and she actually gets the kids' picture by tricking them into showing their faces to the camera while they're conversing with her.
Yeah.
Because they're directly conversing with her about how they're going to stop her and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows what happened.
Exactly. It's very confusing.
Also, Lothar makes sure that they all put their sunglasses back on because this is a covert operation, as he says.
Ah, yes, yes.
And then decides to pop a kid's balloon, which is a great way to remain covert.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. But to Rocky's friends and his girlfriend, who are finally tired of waiting for him, apparently to get her purse. This gives token black friend her first line of the movie. As Bob can attest to when I was watching it with him the first time, I was convinced she'd have no lines in the movie. She has, I want to say, 4. So,
yeah.
Proved me wrong, I guess. They're not good lines.
I mean, none of them are major characters, but...
No.
It is interesting, this scene, and with a lot of this film.
Mm-hmm.
There's question about, okay, where are things happening in relation to each other?
Uh-huh.
Because all of these people, both in the bit with the idiot nephews in line and with Jennifer and Rocky's other friends,
mm-hmm.
are acting like the park is going about business as usual.
Yeah.
There was, moments ago, a whole hell of a lot of gunfire coming from the park entrance.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, what would you say, 5, 7, maybe even 10 assault rifles being fired?
That seems fair, yeah.
And the noise of police sirens would have been before that. I mean, it's probably a pretty big park, but you got to figure, news should be starting to spread around the park that something weird is going on by now, right?
The fact that people were trying to leave, yeah.
Yeah. Even if you accept that somehow they managed to do the takeover stealthily, despite the fact that they very clearly did not, a whole bunch of news should be going through the park by now. I don't think, even at this point in the film, you should be seeing people generally going about their day as usual,
mm-hmm.
but definitely not in another 15 minutes into the movie or so.
Mm-hmm. After messing with the kid for no reason, Varney is on his way back to the control room. This is when Hogan spots him, and naturally he's just sort of walking a few people behind him through a massive crowd of people who, again, are unaffected by the gunfire, all the action that's happened so far. They're just going by the day as if they're being filmed normally at a park. It's weird how that works.
And precisely one of them asked for Dave Dragon's autograph, Dave Dragon being a very famous person in this park.
Mm-hmm.
More legitimately also Hulk Hogan. But
yeah, it's just a 6'5" man, a celebrity no less, dressed like a He-Man figure. Just ignore him. It's not important.
Yeah. Lothar also steals a little kid's ice cream during this sequence to continue his decline in seriousness.
He's a 1920s villain, I guess, at this point now, yeah. The ninja gang realizes that there must be some sort of master control room they have to hack into. They can use that to lock out the bad guys and keep them from messing with the right controls anymore.
Colt is very concerned about them disobeying their dad, because their dad had told them, hey, just lay low, kids, it's okay. This is another example of the movie, I think, not watching itself. Colt's like, oh, it's great, we can do that hacking thing because we wouldn't be fighting, so we wouldn't be disobeying dad. This is roughly 1 minute after they just finished fighting.
Yeah.
And disobeying their dad. It's just this movie does not watch its own prior scenes.
Editing is hard, Bob. Editing is hard.
I know, it is.
Yeah, I know.
I do it every episode.
I know. This leads to the arrival of the comic relief henchmen. Our heroes lure them away from Amanda so she can do her thing. Elsewhere, Varney goes back to the base, Somehow still with Hogan behind him and having no awareness of whatsoever.
Again, the most noticeable man in the universe.
It's amazing. Hogan stops short of actually falling directly into the place. Because I guess he knows they're in control somehow. Things he definitely doesn't know.
At the very least, this guy is super suspicious and shot you, so you might figure I probably shouldn't just blatantly walk into a building that this guy is easily getting into.
I suppose so, but this definitely hinges upon him knowing stuff that he shouldn't possibly know, to a certain extent, I'd say. So instead of just following him in, he looks around for some sort of way he can get in there. He happens to spot the Easter Bunny, because I don't know what year or time this is taking place at. The Easter Bunny's there, sure, why not?
This is not the ice cream bunny.
That is very true. That bunny would kill them all in the park.
Oh, good gosh, yeah.
Hogan spots this and gets an idea. He does the I have an idea face that he does his best as an actor to do, which, not great, but he tries. Back outside the park, where all the shooting was that no one seemed to hear, Mom has arrived and meets with Dad talking about what's happened. They all, of course, realize that their kids are inside the park with everything. Back at the room, we then cut to the guy whose job it is apparently just to stare at the camera in case someone walks up to the door to get in, which I guess he would be a little more active if Varney was there very recently. It's not clear how long Hogan's plan takes to enact, but I don't know if he's expecting anyone to come in there, though.
Well, I mean, I guess you still want someone watching the door.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Just to, like, make sure that no one gets curious. Like, you'd want warning if there was, for instance, a large group of park security guards that had gotten out and was heading for the control room or something like that, right? So
That's fair, yeah. So he's watching the door and he sees an Easter Bunny walk up and wave at the door. When he doesn't answer him back, he goes, yeah, sure, I'll let you in. The Easter Bunny walks in and immediately punches him in the face, knocking him out. He reveals himself to be Hogan, and now he, I guess, takes the suit off for the next scene.
just to note a couple things about this trick.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, this is literally the same trick that Medusa herself pulled to get into this same building.
Yeah.
Her own henchman has fallen for the very trick that he witnessed his boss using to get into the building.
Yeah.
Number two, before Hogan gets his idea to put the Easter Bunny costume on, he actually did walk straight up to the door.
Yeah, that's true.
And look at the door. He had to be on camera at that moment.
Yeah.
So the henchman also saw Dave Dragon walk obviously up to the door, look around like, ho, 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 and then walk away. And then an Easter Bunny comes up to the door and acts like his like communicator is out or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's like, well, I better go open the door.
Yeah.
This can't possibly be the 6'5" massive mountain of muscle that I saw. It's clearly just an Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's also giving me weird flashbacks to a much later movie where Kurt Angle dressed like a party clown to get in someone's house and get into a door does the same thing.
Oh my gosh. So our fourth match is Dave Dragon versus Medusa, Lothar, Hacker CJ, and Medusa's goons for control of the control room. The referee is the computer that got shot before. Dragon grabs a guard's arm and wrenches on it, but gets kicked by another one and falls to the center area. He lands a side kick on one guard, sweep kicks another, and lands a jump kick to a third, but gets hit from behind by a guard with a large metal pole because apparently guns are for show.
Yeah.
Dragon headbutts a guard and slugs another down, but Medusa uses a whip to whip his leg out of his leg, and the guards dive on top. Medusa suggests that she'll make him her boy toy, and Dragon says he'd rather be eaten alive by wolves, which she says can be arranged. She has her goons tie Dragon up. CJ the hacker asks him for an autograph, which is kind of funny, except that Dragon's already tied up, so maybe do that while he can still use his hands.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that fight?
I mean, it's Hogan and his stunt double doing karate, so obviously not as exciting as the kid and their stunt people doing fighting, for sure. It's at least a different location, so it's not another fight in, like, Stroke exterior of the park, so it's a little different. The actual set, as weird as you said it looks, like it's out of a spaceship, it's a nice sort of atmospheric location, at least, so It does elevate things a little bit. It's the idea that Hogan's character, because he's does stage fighting, knows how to do fighting, but is also not good at fighting, because he's been really bad so far when it actually matters.
I would say, like, this scene is the most forgivable of the ones with him, because, well, I guess technically the one with Varney just shooting him with a dart isn't particularly bad, because he just gets surprised. But This one, I think, like, shows him as a capable combatant that just ultimately gets overwhelmed by the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really go too much into like the history of Dave Dragon or something, but I would wager that the idea is that he is someone with some legitimate combat training who decided to make his career a stage show and actor, basically, much like other martial arts stars that we've had over the years in film.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the idea. Is probably like he is trained to fight, but he's rusty doing it for real.
Okay.
And obviously, if we were looking at this fully realistically, which we shouldn't because it's a film,
Yeah.
a real person fighting even 2-on-1 is not a massive disadvantage. And he's fighting like 4 or 5-on-1 over the course of this scene. I ultimately like this scene for showing him as a reasonably capable fighter that just gets overwhelmed by the numbers game and superior equipment. It is interesting to me that they had Dragon here use much more of a mix of martial arts moves and Hogan's more normal wrestling brawler style.
Yeah.
I guess it's less funny that they do that here and more funny that they didn't do that in his stage show.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this struck a decent balance in the scene. He's not treated like a complete joke.
No.
He's going to have a character arc where he does actually get to do some heroic things. But his straightforward approach and his inexperience with actual fights make him a well-intentioned but ultimately ineffective hero here. I think the film later on will go somewhat too far with that.
Yeah.
Especially when this stuff continues to happen to him after his big heroic moment. But as a base concept here, it's okay.
I suppose so, yeah.
And yeah, some of those kicks are definitely not being done by Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Credit to the stunt people to find a double for Hogan.
Yes, that had to be difficult, especially when you're having him in an outfit that's not easy to use to hide him.
Yeah.
All of the normal tricks that you would use to like hide the fact that this isn't the guy are not really available with this outfit and this hairstyle and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
there's a couple shots where you can like catch that there's a stuntman being used, but they did actually a surprisingly good job of hiding it overall.
And this scene is not as bad. There's other scenes with other people that it's much more apparent.
Yeah.
It does also mean that someone with dark hair, based on the general people that are doing the stunt for this movie, someone with black hair has to wear a fully blonde wig that's also in the movie is supposed to be a toupee over his actual hair, but it's Hogan. There's layers here, is what I'm saying. I think my issue is just that it was so short. He comes in, he gets a couple of kicks, but then they take it out really quickly.
Yeah, it does happen quite fast. It's weird that it specifically involves Medusa taking him down. Well, I guess it's not weird at this point, but eventually it's going to be weird that Medusa is so involved in repeatedly taking Dave Dragon down over the course of this movie, because they basically are building up for a Dave Dragon versus Medusa fight, right?
Yeah, clearly.
So, yeah, bear that in mind.
After all that, we are finally back to the titular ninjas, who separate after a short off-screen chase. Again, nobody cares that adults are chasing children through this theme park in broad daylight.
Yes.
Just the best people around. So our heroes are chased by the trio, and they separate and they go across the various carnival attractions, such as the dart toss, the squirt gun, and target practice, where you throw a baseball and try and knock down a pin and win a stuffed animal and such. Since there's 3 kids and there's 3 idiot goons, they each get their own moment to sort of show off one of those against them.
They made interesting choices with which kid does which part.
Yeah.
So Colt does the baseball bit, which, fine. He like ends up throwing baseballs at the big guy.
Yeah.
Tum Tum does the dart throwing one and ends up like throwing darts around the black-haired goon.
Yeah.
Is that the Crash Bandicoot guy you mentioned?
That's the guy, yeah.
Okay. And then Rocky does evading the brown-haired goon through the water shooting game.
Yeah.
Like jumping on the stage of it and running through. And then the brown-haired goon follows him and acts like he got stuck.
Yeah.
Now, visibly, he's not stuck.
No.
The bars are far too far apart for that. And also, Rocky is like 15.
Yeah.
He's not that much smaller than an adult. This scene feels like they wrote it for Tum Tum.
Yeah.
Then just like switched on the day of and also didn't think about the fact that both of these guys can easily get through this gap with no problem.
Yeah, the guy kind of just like belly flops on the counter and he's being like sprayed with the water gun and it's like, hey, stop that. Hey.
Yeah, but there's like a 5-second pause between him falling and them starting to spray him where he acts like he's stuck.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
It'd be one thing if he fell and immediately they started spraying him, and then it was just like he lost his balance and they took advantage. But instead, he falls, acts like he's not able to get out of this thing that he's clearly not caught in. It's so weird.
Yeah. I also, as part of the bit where Colt's throwing the baseballs at the bigger goon, he hits him in the nose, makes a bone crunching sound.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
First off, there's no bones in your nose. It's cartilage. But whatever. It's a thing accepted in movies and TV. But it has way too gruesome of a sound effect.
Yeah, for this film, my goodness.
It's the same sound effect as when you get like the X-ray effects in Mortal Kombat games.
Yeah.
Like slow down, like the crunching and breaking noise. I'm like, oh, ow, dude.
Yes.
That poor guy's nose cartilage was broken and shattered. Also, it wasn't because he's fine a minute later.
It is funny as well that he taunts Colt just before that. He's like, you couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, or I don't think it's quite that line, but
he says a worse version of that, yeah. Uh-huh.
Then Colt beans him on the nose, proving him wrong. But then Colt and another kid continue throwing baseballs and miss nearly every throw.
Yeah.
So maybe he had a point.
Yeah, right? After all that, the trio tricked the other two into getting onto the ride, whereupon the lady running it, who guys also was not replaced. So again, another ride not with replaced goons, because it seemed to make no sense if their own goon was there. Kind of just pieces out.
Yeah. The kids like fake that they're going to get on the ride. So she goes over to them, and then the goons, for some reason, get onto the ride too. I forget exactly why.
I think she tells them, hey, you gotta go here.
Oh, that might be, yeah. And then the kids start to get out, so the goons start to get out, but the attendant, in true wrestling referee fashion, has not seen the trick, so forces the goons to get locked into the ride. And then, yeah, she just leaves.
She immediately turns to and walks away. She doesn't hear the sound of men being punched in the face 2 feet away. She is on a break.
Well, and she's just put people on her ride.
I know.
Which she has to turn on.
Correct, yes.
So she just puts people on the ride and then is like, nope, it's time for my lunch break. Walks away, and the kids turn the ride on.
Yep, pretty much.
It's so weird. I don't get that moment at all.
We then cut to the inside of the control room where CJ, the Rastafarian hacker, sees the guys riding the ride and apparently thinks that they're riding it for fun. It's like, hey, look at this. I guess goes back to them waiting in line for the other ride. But then it's pretty clear watching that one, well, they were just hit several times. And also they're against their will on this thing that apparently can speed up.
Yeah, I didn't read it as him and Medusa thinking that they had gone on that ride of their own free will. I took it as him just not liking them and being amused by the situation.
Oh, okay. My thought was initially, like, when he sees them on the ride, that's his first thought, and then he realized what's happening. Which would make sense. Oh, and by the way, there's only 2 on the ride because the third one, the big guy, was hit in the balls by Tum Tum with another really gross sound.
Which at least is one of the moves that he can do that should actually hurt someone that bad.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy's having a really bad, 10 minutes.
Yes.
His face was shattered, and now this happens. Other things are also shattered.
His face was shattered, and now he will never have children. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a pretty safe bet. Varney, in the room, vows to take care of the kids himself. Eventually, the ride stops, because they had been speeding up the ride, which, I don't know, it didn't look like much of a ride to me, honestly. You're on a little car, and it's kind of going up and down a slope in a circle. But he rides it in max speed, which doesn't look very fast.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that I think is probably more intended for families with children or something. It's like the kids level throw ride or admittedly the me level throw ride.
I was going to say, is that the U level?
Yeah, I can't do roller coasters and stuff.
Yeah, this is fine.
Thank you. But it's a low level throw ride basically, where it's just it's just about the speed.
Kind of like the luge one, I guess. Or it's supposed to be on the mountain, you're kind of up and down like you're going up and down the slopes, maybe. But yeah, at max speed, he's somehow. By the way, there's a super speed setting on this ride. First off, why?
Yeah, they do it without having CJ's hacker stuff. So once again, more proof that they never needed to hack the control room computers at all.
Yeah,
they just had to have the guys take over the ride stations.
This does maybe explain why the owner thinks that they can blackmail him, because his rides are dangerous.
They're super unsafe. Yeah,
they have a ludicrous speed setting for some reason. So they see into the ride finally stopping and the automated thing letting them off. The 2 of them wander over to the edge of the railing at the attraction, and the third one, who had been hitting the balls and the nose earlier, wanders over. And we get the hilarious punchline of them all throwing up just off camera from their various traumas.
The guy that got hit in the balls held on for a long time before he threw up, by the way.
He did, yeah.
Because that's before the ride starts up.
That's true, yeah. He's out of it for the entire event, which, again, not clear how long that actually is taking place. We cut to Amanda and her clearly fake monitor displays.
Oh my gosh, this.
As she is trying to hack into the system. As she's in the guest relations room, we see a big CRT monitor, because this is the 90s. And then her small sort of like Sony little laptop thing she has. Both screens are clearly fake. Like not showing the actual thing they'd be doing.
Ridiculously fake computer screens, yes.
She managed to hack in extremely easily. The password is like God or something. It's something really obvious. And like really short, by the way. A 3-digit password for control the entire park. Again,
yes.
This guy is asking for something to happen before Lonnie Anderson and the bad guy showed up.
I guess he thought that no one would ever type it because of sacrilege, maybe.
Oh, right, yeah.
That interface, just talk about for a moment, is the funniest thing. It's just like, it's 1990s movie hacking. Everything is weird CG skull symbols and useless graphical interfaces and rapid typing, and basically absolutely nothing that remotely resembles real hacking.
No.
Also, why can Amanda hack? I get her being good at building gadgets because she says earlier in the film, like, my dad is in special effects.
Yeah.
So he taught me how to make all these like cool things. But is hacking a necessary part of special effects work?
I don't think so, no.
Are Adam Savage and Jamie Heineman with the CIA?
I mean, that's plausible. One of them for sure.
I love 1990s hacking in movies. It is unfailingly the funniest part of a film.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Yes, now she's managed to go through and start locking the ride controls, which is apparently a setting you have in there. Let me just hit the button that says turn off exterior ride controls to the park, apparently. That makes sense.
And let's look at how she's doing this, by the way.
Yeah.
She has hacked into the system.
Uh-huh.
A user interface that is loaded that is clearly intended to be used with either a mouse or at least the arrow keys and enter.
Uh-huh, yeah.
She is instead rapidly typing.
Yeah.
On basically random keys on the keyboard, but like clearly she's supposed to be typing DOS commands, basically.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Somehow this is causing things to happen on this user interface that has nothing to do with typing whatsoever.
Yeah.
So again, I think this is a case of Amanda just not being instructed in what she's supposed to be doing at all.
Just type, honey. It's okay.
This poor kid gets caught with that so many times in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
She also, as they're cutting, says, start the Atom Smasher.
Oh, yeah.
But then the computer says that she's locked the Atom Smasher, which is blatantly not what she said she was doing, but definitely what she's supposed to be doing.
Correct, yes.
So I think they missed a flubbed line there, maybe.
Possibly, yeah. Back outside, a SWAT team, who walk across broken window glass to reinforce the dire comparisons for you, show up. Back inside the main control room with the bad guys, Hogan sees it, because I guess they're watching everything outside in there, and is cocky, but Anderson is confident. His lines of like taunting her are really stupid. It's really just so he can say them back to him sarcastically.
The dialogue here is not Oscar worthy, let's say.
Yeah. It feels to a certain extent like bad improv. Like, okay, here's what you're going for. Kind of just think of some more stuff. It's at least edited in a way that you edit around where he blatantly stop talking for like 10 seconds and think of the next one. It's a little snappier a bit. That's like the worst when you see people film improv and they don't cut that part out.
Yeah.
And it makes it really bad. She orders her men to electrify the fences as the SWAT team, who apparently is surrounding 3/4 of the side of the park. I guess the one side is the ocean, so I guess that's fair. There would be a fence, though, but whatever. So they're in 3/4 of the thing. Apparently, electrify all of the fences in the entire park simultaneously. We cut to 2 guys falling off the side of the fence as they're going to climb it, and are acting stunned. Think the kid from Jurassic Park when the fence goes on. Although even less dramatically.
Less serious than that, yeah.
Yeah, less seriously than that. Yeah, so we see 2 guys get shocked, and that's it for SWAT team.
You're telling me that SWAT has no counter to a fence being electrified?
Nope.
That seems very unlikely.
Yeah. Again, SWAT team is also taken out early in Die Hard, in case you didn't get it.
Yes.
Obviously not in a kids movie fashion where they're blown up and shot, so understandably different. We get what I can only describe as a hacker race.
Oh my gosh, this is so brilliant.
As Amanda locks all the ride controls just ahead of the Rastafarian hacker. Anderson, annoyed at this happening, takes over and locks a roller coaster in mid-rotation, which makes Hogan freak out like she just lit a puppy on fire or something.
How they are doing their counter-hacking scene is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It is literally CJ and Amanda typing the ride names and nothing else on their keyboards.
Yeah.
That is their system interface, is just type the ride name and the system will know what I mean to do with it.
Yeah.
Also, once again, Amanda has an interface that's clearly meant to be used with a mouse. But anyway, as you said, Medusa shoves CJ aside to do it herself.
Yeah.
She succeeds only because the movie's idea of hacking is so stupid.
Yes.
Even with that, it's dumb because, like, you're only going to lose time by pushing a guy away from the keyboard and taking the time to take the keyboard yourself.
Yeah.
But it only works at all because all she has to do is type the name of the ride.
Well, here's the thing. The reason it's a hacker race is because Amanda, with a list of the ride, starts alphabetically at Atom Smasher and is working her way down the list alphabetically.
Yes.
And CJ, the Rastafarian hacker guy, decides also to start at the exact same point, but he's starting behind her. So she is like just locked down Atom Smasher, and then he goes to try and do it, and then he's locked out.
Right.
It only turned because Anderson goes down to the bottom of the list, picks a ride that's like a V or a W, then types a single command that locks Amanda out, but also lets her keep messing with it.
This is true except for one thing.
Uh-huh.
By the time Medusa decides to do that, that is the only ride remaining.
Ah.
Amanda has literally locked down every single other ride that is shown on the screen by the time Medusa does her bit. So it's the one Amanda was on anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, this all works only because the movie's idea of hacking is you just type stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's not that you have to type specific things. If it was, then her shoving away her specialist hacker to take over herself would be absolute suicide.
Yeah.
Because all it is typing ride names. She can handle that.
Exactly.
It's so weird.
Hogan freaks out really dramatically at that ride being locked in rotation and flexes trying to break his way free of his bindings.
So our fifth match is Dave Dragon versus Medusa for control of the computer. The referee is the FBI watching through Medusa's massive web camera. Dragon screams in anger and finally manages to rip his bindings apart and charges, but gets knocked loopy by a single back fist from Medusa. She tells the guards she's bored of him and to get rid of him.
Yep, that's it.
Thoughts on this one?
I mean, it's cool when Batman does it. But yeah, no.
Yeah, in contrast to the earlier one, this one makes Dave Dragon look completely incapable and incompetent.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a real experienced combatant, I get that, but he was able to take on multiple opponents before in a losing fight, admittedly, but it took him a while to lose. This time he takes one punch from a much smaller woman and is so loopy he can just be dragged off easily.
And mind you, he's recovered from the previous fight as well. He's been watching for a long period of time. So it's not like it's right after that and he's still stunned from earlier or a weekend from earlier.
Yeah.
He's been relatively relaxing in that chair, held down. Maybe you could argue he's been struggling against the bindings a bit, so he's been injured that way, but he's not seriously injured or wounded or anything like that.
Unless you are going to have Medusa be an absolute martial arts master late in the film and have like a super fight for the ending, this is completely unjustifiable.
Yes, agreed.
I get that Dragon and SWAT are being used to build up the scale of the threat that the actual heroes of the movie are going to be facing, but both have been portrayed as too inept and too easily beaten.
Mm-hmm.
What's awful about this is that they have perfectly good ways to handle both. The villains have loads of guys with assault rifles. You don't even have to have them actually wound or kill Dragon or SWAT. This is a family-friendly movie.
Of course, yeah.
But you could have them intercept Dragon and level their guns, or pin down the SWAT team with suppressing fire and force a retreat, or stall them long enough for Medusa to threaten the riders so they have to call off the strike, something like that.
Sure.
Again, this would be one thing if Medusa was being built up as a martial arts master herself and would be facing Dragon or the three ninjas in the finale, but spoilers, she's not.
Well, and they said it when she's taunting earlier, she can say she can just turn off the he's told and the people ended the ride. He usually just he pops up and he says, you know, take one more step and I make them all fall.
Exactly. That's what you do.
And then he gets hit, yeah.
Yeah, you have her do that and then someone clubs him from behind with a big metal bowl or something.
Instead, he just gets backfisted by this lady who should not be able to knock him out, and he's such an imagination.
Yeah, the earlier scene I had no real problem with. This one I have enormous problems with.
If you want to know why Hogan puts creative control in his match contracts and his wrestling contracts, this is why.
This explains Hulk Hogan's entire wrestling career, yeah.
Maybe that's like a running joke in the locker room. They go, oh, yeah, you got knocked out by Lonnie Anderson. Oh, you know. It's like, oh, I'll show you.
Yes.
I'll show you all. Back outside, seeing the ride locked and then having the threat from Medusa made after she knocked Hogan out, mind you. Dad says it's hopeless now and tells the owner that you have to pay the bad guys. So the sad billionaire walks off, having to pay them off.
I will note, he's not sad at all. He's just like, okay.
Right, yeah.
I'm on my way to the bank.
Yeah, he's definitely sad later, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no sign of that portrayal here whatsoever.
Yeah, I guess he's going for, like, acceptance is maybe he's going for that, but yeah.
Yeah, his portrayal is so uneven in this movie. It's amazing.
It's like, we're going to make him realistic. I actually make him a cartoon character.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of the way you shoot scenes out of order and sequence, editing a movie, that's what you get, probably.
Yep.
On cue, I guess, after all this happened, the bad guys finally start to try and get rid of all the crowd by firing their guns into the air. Thankfully, the bullets don't just fall down and kill anybody, because this is a kid's movie.
Yep.
Also, mind you, the crowd that was standing near the ride doesn't see that it's been fully locked in its upside down condition, because obviously it was done digitally and added in later. Hogan, knocked to the by that massive strike, is led away by two goons and into the middle of a crowd gathered by the roller coaster for maximum dramatic presentation.
Yeah, they're kind of all being kept hostage inside, like, the staff area of the roller coaster ride, basically, like, underneath it.
Exactly, underneath where the tracks go, yeah.
They do have a legitimately nice shot here with him realizing the scale of what he's gotten involved in, basically.
Yeah.
They do this big circle shot of him seeing all the people with assault rifles literally standing on the roller coaster track. And they do this, like, circle shot, very like Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Michael Bay circular shot showing the scale of the roller coaster and all the people on it, and Hogan kind of giving this, actually for him, quite good facial acting of, oh my gosh, we're screwed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good enough shot that they didn't really need the part they do almost immediately after it, where the kid's like, why don't you save us?
Yeah, exactly. They knock him down, and the kid asks Hogan for help, which makes him sad.
Yeah. Just like, fists aren't any good against guns. That's fine, but just like, I think they actually just didn't trust their own shot there, I think.
Yeah. Elsewhere, the henchmen spot a picture of Rocky and his girlfriend on the ride from earlier, and they buy it.
Oh my gosh, how?
Two things. First, you can just buy pictures of strangers on rides? Again, this guy was gonna get sued by somebody before the bad guy showed up eventually.
There's so much wrong with this, yeah.
They just sped up the process completely. Secondly, this also works because the guy running the photo booth at the ride from, like, I don't know, 3 hours earlier, it's not clear how much time has passed, is another one who has also not been replaced by a goon.
Yeah.
You could have had him be replaced by a goon, and he's like, hey, boss, I recognize that kid from the fight earlier. Isn't that him and his girl or something like that?
It would explain everything if this was just one of the goons, yeah.
Yeah.
Instead, you have 3 adults that are not claiming any relation to these children that are in this photograph, 14, 15-year-olds. 3 adults coming up that look skeezy as heck.
Oh, yeah.
And don't have the kids with them. And saying, hey, I would like to buy a photograph of these 2 random children.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, sure. Also, he has a printout already ready.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is not something that would happen. You print those when they're purchased, not before at one of those things. Because otherwise, massive waste of money.
Yes.
And they're finding this photograph, like, probably on the order of several hours after Rocky and Jennifer rode that ride.
Yeah.
I don't think they keep those up for that long.
No.
At least, like, not on the screen.
Yeah. It's like the montage, like, or like more of a collage, I guess. Showing people that rode the ride earlier. That might make sense.
Yeah, but it's like one of the main ones being advertised on the TV screens at that point, basically.
Yeah. Well, apparently the guy running this booth just really likes that picture, so I printed it.
Yeah, no wonder he didn't feel bad about selling a picture of 2 children to random creepers.
Uh-huh, exactly.
His name's probably in the Epstein files.
Absolutely. So, with this new baffling evidence in hand, they find the girlfriend and her friends in line at a different ride somehow and take her away. I guess the implication was they checked the cameras on a scene we didn't get to see and said, oh, there she is, and then told them which ride she's on. But we don't get that. So it's just, hey, that's her. The next scene, hey, there you are.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. Like, they needed a scene between these at the least to show like the passage of time. But also, once again, Jennifer and her friends are at this ride where business appears to be going on as usual.
Yep.
Despite the fact that now we have not only had automatic gunfire near the entrance, but automatic gunfire near the roller coaster, and a whole bunch of hostages being corralled in a roller coaster by men visibly armed with automatic weapons.
Uh-huh.
And business is still just going on as usual. And then the three strangers come up, not being dressed as park employees whatsoever, give the cheesy excuse of like, we have a message from your boyfriend or something like that, and visibly drag this teenage girl away in front of not only her friends, who barely protest at all and do it only because the jerky one thinks that he's her boyfriend now,
Yeah.
but also in front of a whole bunch of other adults who make no protest whatsoever, seeing this very obvious kidnapping happen.
Well, they've ignored so much already, Bob. This is just the 12th thing in a row they're ignoring, I guess.
It's so nonsense. Like, it's not hard to make scenes like this work.
Yeah.
They roughly make it work 3 seconds later, because when the jerky kid protests, the big guy, screams at him to intimidate him. I didn't need the pants wetting moment, but just have them do that to scare the adults too.
Yeah.
Have it an obvious kidnapping, but with an explanation of why no one intervenes.
Yeah. Yeah, so as mentioned, the dorky best friend, the guy left behind with the group, jokes that maybe I'm your boyfriend now. Ha ha ha. So then when she's dragged away, he tries to talk tough to the big fat goon. The guy immediately yells really angrily at him, and apparently the kid wets his pants. Because it's not a Hogan film unless someone voids their bowels in some way.
This is sadly true.
That's in the rider. At least someone asks, what's that smell? And then answers, Dookie.
Yeah, fair enough.
The group of heroes reunite and happen to see the girlfriend be tied to the roller coaster tracks. The cameras are very convenient for this plot. People look at them exactly at the right time to see what they need to see at any point in time.
Yeah, explain to me why anyone would ever point any kind of security camera at that specific point on a roller coaster track.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's filmed at a strangely cinematic angle.
Yeah, like I said before, so often in movies and TV where you film a scene just however you shot it, and then you just put it on a TV or a video screen or something and just hope that it makes sense that way.
This film at least doesn't use the actually having camera cuts in the middle of it. But I've seen that in other shows, and it's just like, no one thinks about, we're going to need an angle of this that looks rational for a security camera. Let's film that too. It's really just an amazing sin of filmmaking that happens all over the place. That's not this movie alone, but it's really stupid whenever it comes up.
Yeah. Rocky, being a boyfriend and being the eldest, says that he's got to go off alone to save her. Elsewhere, Hogan finds himself in a literal shame circle, with everyone looking at him for help, as things have both gone wrong for them there, but also perfectly fine for everyone else in the park.
Yes. So our sixth match is Dave Dragon versus several heavily armed goons and a large wooden gate for the freedom of loads of hostages. The referee is that judgmental kid from the prior Dave Dragon scene.
That makes sense, yeah.
Dave thinks for a moment and decides that he's out of a job next week anyway, so he might as well risk being riddled with bullets, which is just a horrific statement on unemployment.
Yeah, right?
He bravely, openly walks through the crowd, and none of the goons even notice, despite him being a massive pro wrestler in bright red pants, easily the most noticeable person there.
Yeah.
He scales the roller coaster and headbutts a goon, and then takes the goon's nunchucks, then runs along the coaster track and uses the nunchucks to zipline down a cable towards a wooden gate as the goons finally notice and fire their assault rifles at him, missing him. Undoubtedly, those shots would go right into the watching crowd, but they just, don't.
Nope.
Why? Shut up, that's why.
Yeah, it's my line.
Dragon drop kicks the gate and knocks it open, and the crowd rushes out to safety as the goons just kind of give up trying to stop anyone, despite having easy, clear shots at lots of defenseless civilians and at Dragon himself. Rocky, running by, just somehow knows that Dave kicked the door open and congratulates him, thrilling Dave. Thoughts on this one?
I mean, there's not much to it as far as this goes. I mean, takes you guys that don't notice him and then does this little zipline trick with the nunchucks. I'm not entirely sure that would work with the metal on there, but, it's a movie.
It works in action movie physics anyway, right?
Yeah. I see people do it with a wallet for, so, hey, why not? I talked about the music before, but yeah, the stock heroic music while he's playing is very super generic and so uninspired. It's just, he's finally said for himself kind of music, or he's, taking charge music. I did like that in a weird way that his sort of zip line into kicking through the wall, which I don't know how he knew there were goons behind the wall. He could have just kicked people at the park for all he knows. In a weird way, it reminded me of how you can sort of break through walls, take out goons in the Arkham games.
Yeah, true.
He just pops through and grabs them. To your point, yeah, the guards fire at him clearly towards the crowd, but there's some sort of invisible plot barrier keeping the bullet from hitting the people.
It's the same thing that protected the cops before, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. I guess assume there's Neo there, just stopping all the bullets. Not stopping the bad guys, just stopping the bullets in this one instance. I'm not that invested. And the fact that once he breaks through the wall, the goons don't try to hold the hostages there is pretty silly.
Yeah, they plotted out 75% of this scene, and then they forgot about making the ending rational.
Yeah, exactly. The goons that weren't attacked and have the advantage give up because the scene's over.
Yeah. This is a necessary big hero moment for Dave Dragon, and it is a fun stunt, but it's obviously just bonkers stupid in presentation.
Yeah.
There's no reason you couldn't just have Dave go full hero mode and actually defeat all the goons.
Yeah.
Doing that would remove all the remaining plot holes with this scene.
Yeah.
Failing that, just find a way for him to get to the gate without the goons firing at an angle that would kill the crowd, maybe?
Yeah, right?
It's a shame that what could be a really good feel-good moment with stage hero Dave finally getting to be a real hero is kind of spoiled a bit by them not bothering to think through how to present it logically at all.
Yeah, for sure. And as you mentioned in the recap, Rocky and Hogan share a brief moment where Rocky congratulates him for the thing he didn't see him actually do. So, yay, I guess.
Yeah. He's running by and just oh, a gate's open and Dave Dragon is standing there. Clearly, he has done something heroic.
Yeah. It says after Rocky leaves, he then starts ushering the crowd through the hole he made.
Yeah.
So it's not like he sees the crowd leaving after Dave took out these two guys he didn't know were there. It's a little silly. We cut from that to a different scene with different stock music as we see the owner taking a bunch of money to helicopters to be delivered to the park. Because I guess banks don't exist in this world. Just, banks, you can just do wire transfers and that kind of thing.
Well, he was shown at the bank earlier withdrawing the money and doing an excellent power walk, by the way.
He did, yeah. How do we not get the unmarked Swiss bank account cliche?
Sam, during this sequence, is saying they've got tracking devices in the bags.
Yes, yeah.
And the lead cop says that means as soon as the bags are dropped off, the cops can move in. That's the opposite of what that means.
Yeah, yeah.
If you have tracking devices, you're using that to avoid confronting the bad guys in a public place surrounded by civilians. You want to follow them back to their hideout or a better place for a confrontation.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, yeah.
If you're moving in right away, you don't need them to have tracking devices. You just go in.
Yeah. Maybe if you meant we put the dye bags in there, and once the dye bags are off, we'll make her move or something. Maybe that would make a little bit of sense.
Yeah, but he explicitly says tracking devices.
He does, yeah. It's a decent idea, but not quite put together like a lot of this movie, unfortunately.
They're just saying lines that cops say in movies.
Yeah.
There are parts of this film that sound like they were written by AI.
Yes.
Which is impossible because it wasn't around at that point. But
yeah,
man, there's some films that sound like that.
Yeah. Speaking of Rocky, he is run off to go rescue his girlfriend, but he's interrupted by Jim Varney's character, Lothar. I guess Lothar was too nice to just, stab the kid in the back with the sword. We had to drop on him. Real decent of him.
So our seventh match is Rocky versus Lothar for Jennifer's life. The referee is the multiple people just watching in the background and doing absolutely nothing to try to save the girl strapped to the roller coaster tracks or the boy being attacked by a man with a sword who have no right to judge anyone.
To be clear, on your spreadsheet, is that going to be listed as referee?
I don't do spreadsheets for the movie episodes, thankfully.
Okay, because I kind of want to see that box. I'm just picturing it's a list of all the referees, Hebner, then You know, we're listing like the total number of appearances, and like that's just one of the appearances. Chicken Halloween Havoc. By the time we do the wrap up, I'll have forgotten this the whole setup anyways. It'll be a big surprise for me.
Rocky tries to climb to Jennifer, but Lothar interrupts, holding a sword instead of, as you noted, just stabbing him from behind. Rocky dodges Lothar's clumsy sword swings, kicks him in the elbow, dodges some more, and both are, more obviously than usual, replaced by stunt doubles to do a bit of a Jackie Chan dodging sequence around a bench, including a wild spinning fall by Rocky over the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Lothar leaps over to try to stab him, but Rocky dodges and the stuntmen dodge around some more. Rocky flees and trips Lothar up. More dodging around, and Lothar sticks his sword near a very uncomfortable place.
Yeah.
But Rocky front flips away and kicks Lothar down in the process, and Rocky's stuntman disarms Lothar's stuntman with a kick, knocking the sword flying. Rocky lands a kick combo, decks Lothar, and climbs up to get Jennifer free, but doesn't, grab the sword, which might have been helpful.
Yeah, very good.
Come on, kid, it's Adventure Game 101. Pick up everything.
Exactly.
Lothar interrupts, not having grabbed the sword either, and tells Rocky there's no more room to run. There's plenty, actually. There's a whole roller coaster track.
Yeah.
Rocky blocks and dodges blows and is pretty much winning the fight by landing several of his own, but decides to run up the loop anyway, and we get a very strange, low frame rate, sped up sequence of him and Lothar climbing the tracks.
Yes.
Why was that played so strangely?
It's like you watch an old Keystone Cops.
Yes, exactly.
With the police running around and the cars going around, yeah.
Very strange.
I think the idea was they shot this as best they could, and then they realized it looks terrible because they're moving very, very slowly. So someone thought, let's just speed it up, it'll be fine.
Yeah, but it doesn't even look sped up to a normal rate. It looks sped up to faster than normal.
Yeah, because they were going very slowly.
They didn't think about the actual pacing that it would happen at, basically.
No.
The lead cop outside sees this somehow on the security cameras, which would have no reason to be pointed there, and hands Sam some binoculars, I guess thinking he might want to watch his son die?
Yeah.
Rocky and Lothar both comedically realize how high up they are as they reach the top of the loop and hug each other, then realize what they're doing and let go. Way to kill the drama.
Yeah.
Rocky slugs Lothar, and Lothar starts to choke him, so Rocky whips out the yo-yo and uses it to wrap Lothar's leg and pull him off balance, and Lothar falls as Rocky, still visibly holding the yo-yo, somehow does not fall with him, despite said yo-yo, again, being wrapped around Lothar's leg in a way that would not just slip free easily, especially with the blades that come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Lothar lands on a tent roof, bounces off cartoonishly, and lands on some boxes in a truck bed. "I'm alive," he says in shock, but several police officers level guns on him. Is the idea that he fell or bounced all the way out of the park somehow? Because the cops have not been in this park.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when you mentioned it before. So I'm of two minds. One, that's what they're going for. It's as ridiculous as you want it to be because he falls from like a couple 100 feet at least.
It's very high.
It's a tarp which gives no impact to you and acts like a trampoline and launches him long distance. So maybe they figure with the distance he's falling and then this possible bounce, he's outside the fence somehow.
Yeah.
The other theory I have is that this is an issue of the continuity because shortly after the scene, we then see the cops inside the park once some of the money starts happening. So maybe this was supposed to be shown later.
Yeah.
And they put it in there and they didn't realize it, the order of this. As you said, they don't watch their movie.
Yeah, or we're supposed to take from what the lead cop said that they are starting to move in already, even though he explicitly said we only move in once the bags are in the bad guy's hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird, like, where this truck is supposed to be, basically. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah, a truck full of flattened out cardboard boxes.
Yes.
Which break your fall, because that's how that works.
Lothar gives a nervous chuckle as Rocky carefully descends to get to Jennifer. Thoughts on this match?
I like the beginning part, even with the obvious Asian stunt double for Jim Varney at multiple points. It's a good example of showing off what the kid playing Rocky could actually do as far as the sort of gymnastics and dodging part of it. It is kind of funny that of all the people he's got to constantly get away from, and I get there's a sword involved, that it's Jim Varney and not one of the bigger goons like we saw earlier or the tougher goons we see later. Kind of a weird juxtaposition there.
Yeah, I mean, Varney is one of the two main villains and had been being built up as some sort of major threat. So it makes sense that one of the three main heroes is getting to directly fight one of the two main villains.
Yeah.
But having seen what Rocky can do in earlier scenes, It feels weird that he's facing off against just one guy who we've never seen in a fight scene before.
Yeah.
If they'd had Lothar like take out some security guards or something, that's how you do this kind of thing normally, right? Is like the villain gets his build-up moment where he takes out some security guards or SWAT officers or things, and you build up, oh wow, this guy can fight really well.
Yeah. The parts where they're climbing up the tracks, like I said, looks really bad. They overcompensated for how awkwardly the people were trying to climb on what I assume was digitally replaced sort of walkways. They cut from them being on the actual ride to being on a screen of some kind. They couldn't do the sort of like squat step between these gaps very well. So when they got it in there, they sped it up, and then they sped it up too much.
Yeah, it's a mess.
One thing that I noticed that was a little weird is, so they're walking up the loop of the track, right?
Yes.
But when they're at the top part where the dash is looking, they're on what's clearly the outside of the loop.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would assume that at some point when it started going vertical, they swung around to the outside and continued climbing normally or something.
That would be nice to show because they're clearly following the path, but then at the top, they're on the opposite side of where they were. I was like, wait, how did they do that? And lastly, the yo-yo, I'm glad the yo-yo comes into play, but why is there a blade on it? What purpose does it serve? Like, at all?
Yeah, they just wanted it to look like technical.
I guess.
The blade never has a purpose in the film. In fact, the blade is against the purpose of how the yo-yo is used multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see the blade pop out, and then a guy will get hit in the face with this thing in one of the earlier fight scenes, and there's no blood or sign of cut. And then you have the blade pops out when he wraps it around Lothar's leg and tugs on it, which would stop the thing from coming free and probably cut up his leg. But neither of those things happen.
Or it might cut the rope if you put him to the blade comes out.
Yeah. So the blade actually actively harms the use of this in the movie.
Yeah. There's some decent setup here, but the latter part, once it's about special effects and once it becomes super cartoonish, it kind of loses me a bit.
Let's complete the decline of Lothar, shall we?
Yeah.
He starts the film looking like Medusa's capable subordinate, slowly morphs into a cartoonishly evil villain dealing with stupid henchmen, then a mean older man bullying children, and now he's beaten in a fight involving stupid comedy sequences and cartoon physics. Not action movie physics, cartoon physics.
Yep.
Well, he goes full on Ernest with his voice and performance.
Mm-hmm.
It's like someone woke up and suddenly realized, oh, we hired the guy who plays Ernest to be our secondary bad guy, and progressively rewrote more of his script as the movie went on to make him just a comedy henchman.
Yeah.
Just play the character straight. The movie's PG, and you've got him fighting Rocky, not Tum Tum. Let Rocky have his big hero moment, beating a legitimately scary bad guy, in a kid's movie sense at least,
Yeah.
in a fight played perfectly straight. But no, for one of the two climactic fights of the movie, and the downfall of one of the two main villains, we got comedy bullcrap.
Yeah.
The earlier segment of the fight with them doing the sword work and stuff is pretty reasonable. There's quite obvious stuntmen for Lothar and a few points where I think you could see Rocky's pretty clearly as well.
Yeah.
But like the later part of the film, once they get on the roller coaster, it is just comedy dreck. It's really, really just awful, awful stuff. And it makes Lothar look stupid, and it makes Rocky look stupid too.
Yeah. The main rule of doing a film, whether it's low budget or big budget, is write what you can shoot. Ultimately, they couldn't shoot this and make it look realistic.
Yeah.
But they went on anyways. Someone in post was really confident. No, I got it. Don't worry. It's all good.
I think this would have worked absolutely fine if you just had it be Rocky fights him on the ground and maybe on the lower straight level of the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Beats him and then has to free Jennifer before the roller coaster comes down, as we'll see later.
Mm-hmm.
But because they decided, we got to do this bit with the roller coaster loop, which I get, like that's an interesting concept. But because they decided to do that and couldn't do it really in a non-comedic way, because it's really dangerous and they were going to be low on balance if they were actually up there and stuff. So they couldn't think of a way to do it non-comedically. So they did it comedically. And that really, really messes with the drama of this scene.
Mm-hmm.
Even for kids' movies, you got to have some drama. There's a level that you need to reach still, even for like a family action movie like this, that this starts out trying to get to and then just abandons here.
Yeah. Did the ending bit with Varney where he's talking about the cops remind you of anything from a show we've covered already?
Well, it reminded me of Hogan being threatened by the cops at Spring Stampede 2000.
Yes, that was exactly what I was going for as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the cops suddenly pulling guns on Hogan. Like, whoa, hello.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Very similar pose and everything, yeah.
Yeah. Like, whoa. Yeah. So after that, Rocky, who I guess assumed that Varney's character died because he doesn't see the landing and doesn't care, I guess, climbs back down to rescue his girl. Angered that her plan, whatever it is at this point, isn't working, Anderson releases the brakes on the ride, thus taking away her leverage completely, all in an attempt to kill Rocky.
This is the same thing. The cops haven't quite sent your payment yet. They're like sending it, and she's just about to go to retrieve it. And she's like, well, I'll go ahead and disable the locks so that I can try and kill this kid.
Yeah.
Shouldn't Sam just say, hey, let's call Jacobson, tell him the idiot criminals freed all their hostages early so you can go back.
Yeah, right? Rocky, of course, managed to get her free, and they climbed the outside part of the track where there's a little stairwell to climb down, presumably for people like that work there to get up there to help people if they're stuck or just to work on the thing in general. They then decide to jump off the tracks for no reason.
They're not in any danger.
Yeah. They're clearly out of the path of the tracks. I'm like, no, let's jump to the ground dramatically anyways.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, they risk completely unnecessary injury there, yeah.
Annoyed that this has gone completely wrong, Anderson and company are now leaving to meet the helicopter as they prepare to get the loot drop. They, of course, walk straight through the crowd with zero resistance.
Admittedly, they do have several people with assault rifles with them, so...
Yeah. It's not like they're not like trying to stop them, but they have like almost no reaction. A couple people in the outer areas are wisely, going, hey, shoving, with the extras, but so much of it is just walking through normally. Like, oh, have a good day.
There's a lot in this film, as we pointed out multiple times with Amanda, where they just don't seem to have given enough direction as to what's supposed to be going on. So the crowd is just like ignoring things, or basically the crowd's just like never reacting to the things that you think they should be reacting to.
Yeah.
And it really spoils the reality of the film.
With the budget, you either have to find a way to not have a crowd if you can't afford the extras and how to corral the extras and all that. You got to find an excuse like, oh, the park's closed for winter or something, Various ways it's done in movies, like see Jurassic Park as an example. The park's not open. That's why no one's there.
Yeah.
Or you have to be able to handle a crowd and use them to your advantage for these kind of scenes. Like, here's a crowd of people reacting like, the crowd running from Godzilla or staring in terror as someone's, hanging off a ledge or something. They get a decent amount of shots of the crowd when things are going normally, but they don't get good shots of them as a whole when things are going bad.
Yeah, the only couple scenes in the film that I can think of where the crowd reacts as you would expect them to react, or roughly as you would expect them to react to what's going on, are when Hogan frees them from the hostage situation and it's a whole bunch of hostages running through.
Yeah.
And the scene that's about to happen with money raining down.
Right, yeah.
Those are the only two scenes where I think like you can really point to the crowd having, in large part, the reactions that they're supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few in the previous scene with Rocky that are like looking up at the stuck roller coaster, but then also still blatantly avoiding the young boy being attacked by an adult man with a sword.
Yeah.
This film, like you said, really needed to deal with the crowd somehow because they are blatantly unable to direct the crowd properly in how to react to things.
Exactly. Speaking of the money, we cut to the inside of the helicopter where the owner is there, weeping comedically about having to drop his money.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Mr. Krabs is less sad about losing money than this guy is.
He's gone full comedy rich guy. He's being written like we wanted to see him humiliated.
Yeah.
To this point in the film, the guy has had no like major implication of like being any kind of bad person other than he's rich, but there's not like an implication like he was going to refuse to pay.
No.
Or was corrupt in some way, in some particular way or anything like that. He's just a rich guy. And apparently in this film, that is enough for us to want to see you just look absolutely humiliated and distraught in a helicopter and for somebody to get one over on you somehow. It's like they cut a subplot where he was corrupt or in on it or started to be in on it, but then things went wrong. Like he was running an insurance scam and they turned it real or something. Like any of that kind of stuff would work for this.
Yeah.
But there's been no buildup to us needing to see him like this. And the previous 2 times we saw him getting his money to do this, he's shown no particular distress. He's just been like maybe a little bit stressed out that people are going to die if I don't get this money to them in time or something. But
yeah,
he's not portrayed with a morality in the film.
No.
So it's so bizarre that they then portray him as like openly weeping in this comedic, humiliated rich man fashion.
Yeah, so he then starts dropping the bags of money, which he decides to drop them into a little like lake they have by the walkways for some reason. I don't know what's even for. If this is a Florida park, they'd have like flamingos in there or something.
Yeah.
But here's just a bed of water so we can have mosquitoes here. Enjoy.
Well, and he drops the first one on the land.
Oh, yeah, true.
And then the second one falls in the water, so he just has really crappy aim.
Yeah. I guess all the tears in his eyes from him losing his money is just causing his aim to go horribly wrong. It's also not clear why he has to drop the money personally, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's a movie.
We're well past the point where the police are obviously involved, so just have a policeman dropping the money. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Seeing the second bag hit the water, Amanda gets an idea. She quickly gets her drone set up, the one, she had at the beginning of the movie and hasn't used ever since, but brought to the park because, of course, she did.
Chekhov's helicopter.
Yeah, exactly. And her ingenious plan is to take her little gas-powered helicopter drone and fly it at one of the bags of money falling, which takes amazing mathematical skill to time that exactly right. You're going up, the bag's going down, you have to measure distance. He's doing that math amazingly quickly in her head.
Well, she's a genius computer hacker, Al.
Oh, right. She can do anything. Okay.
Yeah. All technology is one indistinct grouping that all works together. All technology and science.
That's good to know. Yeah, so her drone, I guess, hits the bag. The bag explodes or something. It's a really bad effect. And something money is raining loose.
Obvious CG money, yes.
Yeah. So like the drone hit the bag, which caused the bag to explode, but also not to burn. Because the money's not burned.
I think maybe the idea, and it's just not done this way, but I think maybe their idea was she cuts it with the rotor blades, like cuts the bag open.
Because those plastic blades would definitely do that.
Yes. Look, none of it makes any sense.
I know. Again, it's the idea that whoever was in charge of the VFX is like, they lay it out to him. He's like, I got it. And I think this thing hit the thing and boom. Then he like forgets to put an explosion in or can't animate how the bag like turn over. So he just kind of does what he did and just gives up.
Yeah.
This, of course, makes everyone run into the water to grab it. And Anderson freaks out and is very unhappy about this.
Yeah, both Medusa and Jacobson are both yelling like, that's my money, because both of them are equally deserving of humiliation in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, if the bad guys wanted anyone to stop picking up their money, maybe their team of goons wielding assault rifles could do something? Maybe?
I guess. If you have time.
Guess those are decorative.
Yeah, really.
And then Amanda's action here is portrayed as heroic, right?
Yeah.
This is her big hero moment.
Mm-hmm.
What she has just done is not stopping the villains from getting the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's stopping the villains from getting one of 3 bags with tracking devices in them that were planted by the police.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, she has no way of knowing that, but why are we spending all this time on her doing this big hero moment of stopping them from getting only one of 3 of the bags when we've already heard that it's actually a good thing if the villains get the bags because the cops will be able to track them?
Yeah, that's true. Look, we gave her a helicopter inducer. We need a helicopter to end this scene.
Yeah.
Well, someone's got to be kidnapped for the finale, so Amanda's up.
Yep.
The ninjas meet up with Hogan yet again and follow the bad guys into the sewer exit because they all ran in there with the 2 bags of money they have, but I guess that's enough.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, I guess.
Yeah, it's a song about that. Anderson taunts them as they arrive, and Hogan leaps into action.
Oh my gosh, her taunt there is one of the most stupid lines in the movie. She calls them the 3 little bears and the big bad wolf come to rescue Goldilocks.
Yeah.
Okay. To diagram the number of ways that that's wrong.
Yeah. We have a flowchart here.
It's not 3 little bears in the story. It's a mama bear, a papa bear, and a baby bear in Goldilocks. The big bad wolf is not from that story.
No.
Was she perhaps thinking of the 3 little pigs? And maybe Red Riding Hood?
Yeah. She's a big fan of Fable, the comic series, where they're all kind of intertwined, so...
Thought you meant the Peter Molyneux game.
No, I did not.
In a movie full of weird references, this one takes the cake.
For sure.
She also tells Amanda before that she's going to use her as a hostage and then make her a slave for 50 years.
Oh, yeah.
To pay back what she's cost her. So bear that in mind for a few minutes from now.
Yeah, exactly. After the taunt, Hogan jumps down and he makes a comment about turning her men into, quote, ninja stew.
Right.
That is a real thing he said in this movie. Hogan and his obvious double kick some butt for a while before he's taken down by a single hand buzzer to the back of the neck by Anderson's character. Double sigh.
Yeah, Medusa takes him out with a basically taser glove.
Yeah.
Which I would love to diagram the science of how that works without knocking you out too.
It's the science of the Joker doing that to people in the Batman cartoon. Or hell, even the Batman Ben 66 live action show. But yeah, this levels to this.
I wish they had used that taser glove sound effect in that earlier scene of Dragon being KO'd in one punch.
Oh, yeah.
That would have spared him some humiliation there.
Yeah. Oh, and his comment about, quote, making ninja stew was all just a setup for Anderson to make a super timely, when this movie was written and filmed, play on the Seinfeld so-called soup Nazi. Because it says, quote, no stew for you.
Oh my gosh, I missed that.
Yeah, this movie's gone full 90s by literally referencing Seinfeld.
Wow. So our main event is the three ninjas, minus Dave Dragon, versus Medusa and her far more than three ninjas. Literal ninjas this time, complete with the usual black outfit and mask. The referee is a bum. Its opinion is the only one that matters.
Fair enough.
The three ninjas are disheartened seeing Dragon go down, but Tum Tum shows them the pocket watch that he got from Grandpa Maury that says, where one goes, we all go. They're encouraged and they chase after Medusa. Surrounded by ninjas, they go back to back and fight off the initial attack, then immediately all split up.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda struggles against her captors and surprisingly easily manages to shove an adult male henchman dragging her along to the floor, but then is immediately captured by Medusa and cuffed to a pipe. Rocky fights ninjas on a catwalk, using the railings to dodge sword strikes and return fire with kicks and punches. He does a monkey flip and kip up, too. Fighting his way up a staircase, he boots one ninja down it and grabs another, using that ninja's sword to block another sword, then shoves them both down the stairs before a quite silly bit, where he suddenly gets afraid of heights while dangling from a slightly higher railing than the one he was easily dangling from earlier, and keeps grabbing onto the ninjas trying to kill him, and headbutts one and hurts his own head too. He then throws the ninja over the railing, presumably to his death.
Space Beauty.
Colt dodges sword strikes on the staircase, knocks the ninja over, and rides his body down the longest staircase in history, flees up the stairs again from another, vaults over him, and lands kicks and a headbutt, hurting his head. Why is that a running gag?
I guess they're not Samoan, at least. That's confirmed.
He gets on the railing, and the ninja for some reason decides to ride it down at him, so Colt just flips underneath it, and the ninja slides down onto his own buddy, butt first. Tum Tum dodges a ninja's sword strikes and just straight up beats the crap out of him because Tum Tum has the strength of 1,000 men and is the reincarnation of Bruce Lee or something.
Tum Tum is Saitama, clearly.
Seriously, why is this kid and this kid alone portrayed as superhuman?
Yeah, they really could not figure out how to write his scenes at all.
They do the Batman Returns thing with a ninja doing a complicated sword spin and Tum Tum just kicking him, and Tum Tum kicks the crap out of him too. Back to Colt, and he dodges strikes around a support pillar, then dodges over it and sidekicks the ninja when the ninja comes through, sending him absolutely flying.
Yes.
Okay, maybe Colt ate his Wheaties too today. More dodges, and Colt runs up the diagonal support beam, and the ninja pursues, so Colt slides down the pillar at him and sends him butt over tea kettle to the ground. Rocky fights a couple ninjas by some pipes, dodging, blocking, knocking one's head into the pipe, and using chains to flip around, but sends both himself and a ninja down with a jumping kick. He yells through a nearby open pipe, and that seems to catapult the ninja backwards into a raised bolt for an impromptu enema, and the ninja hops around cradling his butt and KOs himself on a pipe. That is the sort of stuff that should be happening with Tum Tum.
Yeah.
Colt wins a counter-striking fest against the ninja on a catwalk, disarming him with a kick, and then pulls off a Hurricane Rana and a backflip senton and KOs the guy with a punch. Tum Tum easily kick combos another ninja into unconsciousness and poses with foot raised high, Bruce Lee style, lending credence to my earlier theory.
Yeah.
Colt fells one more ninja with a kick combo, and the three ninjas come together again, only for Medusa to appear, tell them that their training is superior to her warriors, and use an assault rifle to even the odds. Not by shooting them, no, are you kidding?
Oh, God, no.
She shoots out the lights because obviously the one thing that literal ninja kids won't have been trained to do is fight in the dark.
Yeah.
I repeat, literal ninja kids. Shouldn't this have been like their very first lesson, Grandpa Mori?
So she watched the first part of the movie, so that's why she knows.
Apparently, yeah. The evil ninjas have night vision goggles, of course, though Medusa has to tell them to use them, which... what?
Yeah.
Colt punches air and gets kicked down. Tum Tum punches air and knocks himself out, running into a wall because nobody gets to beat Tum Tum.
No.
Medusa plants a bomb by Amanda with a 4-minute timer and escapes. Rocky punches air, gets kicked, and punches wildly and sends himself over a barricade. Hanging on for dear life, he screams for his brothers. Tum Tum uses a smoke bomb to escape approaching ninjas, and he and Colt just kind of find their way to Rocky, and then struggle to drag him back onto the catwalk as we hear Grandpa Mori's speech about pride making a ninja his own worst enemy from the beginning of the movie. Tum Tum somehow shows Rocky the picture of them with their grandpa that's inside the pocket watch, despite the whole concept here being that they're virtually blind in the dark. And that gives Rocky the strength to help them pull himself up. The three ninjas focus and get magic ninja senses to let them use their hearing to fight, and triple kick the approaching enemy ninjas, then dodge sword strikes in a weird low frame rate sequence, and take out the ninjas, including a hip toss by Colt, a trapping kick combo by Rocky, Tum Tum just straight up punching a guy out, a back fist by Colt, and a punching kick combo by Rocky back at full speed to finish. Their foes vanquished, the three ninjas run towards Amanda, but the bomb has less than 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. Thoughts on this scene first?
Yeah, of course. So I had to go back to part of the beginning of this fight that when I was taking my thorough note for this, I watched it a couple times, make sure like I didn't mishear it or misread it or what. Okay, so at the beginning when they're surrounded, they go back to back to back. So Rocky says, "I've got your back." Then Colt says, "No, I've got your back." And then Tum Tum doesn't say anything. And then the fight starts?
Yeah.
But why doesn't he have a line? He's clearly being prompted for the line to complete the section.
Yep.
And it's like a look on this kid's face. He's like, he didn't remember the line?
Did Tum Tum just forget? Yeah.
And they just didn't do a second take of this? Or we did 500 takes. This is the best one.
Yeah, it could have been.
I watched it couple times. I'm like, wait, does he whisper something? Like, no. He clearly like looks towards somebody, like he's being prompted with the line, and he just says nothing.
It really does look like he's supposed to say something there, for sure, yeah.
He's like, "I've got your back." "No, I've got your back." Silence.
And I love, too, that they do that. I've got your back line, and then almost immediately split up and fight completely independently for the rest of the scene.
Yeah. Also, Colt says it like it's a correction. "No, I've got your back. You're all working together, buddy. It's not a contest."
Guess it's the whole, like, younger brother, don't baby me, I can take care of myself type of thing, but still.
I understand that. Highlights to me was Colt riding the guy down the stairs, which is just a weird scene, but kind of funny. And that poor guy is not going to eat solid food for a month. His chin banging up every single step there. Oof, that would hurt. Obviously, it's foam and they shoot it, but still.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But they make a nice clanging metal sound every time his jaw smacks that thing. Oof.
They actually did have some very good sound effects for this sequence in general, yeah.
As a whole, the Foley work, the sound effects and punching, kicking, slap a big thing of meat for the punching sound effects. It's pretty good.
As you pointed out earlier in the film, it's sometimes too good for it being a kid's movie.
Yeah. Lastly, the part I gotta mention as part of the whole fight sequence is there's a bit where Colt does Hurricane Rana. And again, I watched this scene a couple times too. For some reason, to me, I swear, visually it gets way blurry around him. That one shot is like not in focus.
I would suspect that's probably because that's his stuntman, not him, and they just weren't confident being able to hide it.
Oh, yeah. That's my theory as well. But I was like, it's suddenly this one shot is super blurry. I'm like, wait, what happened here? Again, one take, I guess. And of course, this whole theme is a setup, beginning of Act 1. It's just funny, his convenience of that, though. Okay, so Grandpa's lesson was that they're too cocky and overconfident. And his way of showing him that is turning the lights off. And it just happens, the exact same thing happens this time.
That is, I will say, a theme for the franchise.
Okay.
That happens in every single film, that there's like something they learned from Grandpa earlier in the film, or something Grandpa lectured them about earlier in the film ends up being something that either directly saves them late in the film or is tied into like the overall lesson that they end up learning. It's a very like G.I. Joe end of episode lesson type of thing, basically.
Oh, yeah, the PSA, yeah. I gotcha. And when they finally start hearing things humming, their triple super kick reminds me of the thing you see a lot with like the Young Bucks and like
Yes.
Cody or anyone in the Elite. Going back briefly to what I was talking about, the thing with Jim Varney's character, where he's fighting Rocky earlier. He has a sword, never uses it against the kid when he has a perfect opportunity to, but then once he's facing him, he's swinging like crazy. These ninjas have swords, and they're fighting using the sword while the three ninjas can see, the heroes can see. But once they can't see, they don't go stab.
Right, they just start kicking them until they get their magic ninja senses, yeah. Because one thing we know about ninjas is they love to fight fair.
Exactly. They forget they have swords the whole time that the ninjas are off balance and blind. And once they know that they can see or get to hear them, like, okay, now the swords are back now.
It's because they had no idea how to make it that the kids survived that scene if the ninjas are able to hit them with swords, basically.
100%, yeah.
There's some creative ideas in this fight scene that show some definite like Jackie Chan film influence.
Sure.
Particularly in Rocky and Colt sequences where they use the environment frequently to get the advantage. Tum Tum, as usual, is just beating people up like the unbeatable martial arts god he apparently is.
Yeah.
The choreography is fine as usual. I do wish there'd been more development in the fighting through the film, though. Mm-hmm. This is the climactic fight, and aside from the largely nonsensical darkness as a problem for Ninja Boys thing that's resolved with incredible ease, considering it's been literally the main thing that the movie was building towards, there's nothing really different about this fight than the rest.
No.
It would have been nice to have some team-up moments between the three, for instance.
Yeah.
But aside from that starting moment and the one triple kick, they pretty much fight independently. It's not really three ninjas so much as 1+1+1 ninjas, I guess.
Yeah.
Dave Dragon's part of this scene is just so terrifically disappointing.
Yeah.
It really felt like they were building to him actually becoming the hero he was portraying on stage, but instead he ends where he began. A nice guy and brave, but ultimately ineffective.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon fighting alongside the three ninjas would have been a great way to differentiate this quite long fight scene from the other scenes in the film, but the filmmakers missed that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I do get that this is a Three Ninjas movie, and it's not a Dave Dragon movie, but nothing says that it can't be the three ninjas plus a big buddy helping them out.
Yeah.
You can just see the like really fun co-op move potential there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, just picture tiny little Tum Tum standing on Hogan's shoulders and punching a ninja on a catwalk above him or something.
Sure, yeah.
All told, they did pull out some quite nice sequences in the middle of this. It just doesn't feel any more dramatic or interesting than any other fight. It's an obligatory martial arts fight because there needs to be one, not a fully developed part of the story.
Yeah.
They don't even get to beat Medusa in it. After a whole movie showing her using whips, surprisingly hard strikes, and taser gloves against Dave Dragon, nobody actually fights her? Really?
Yeah.
As a single fight scene, this is fine. It's one of the better fights in the film, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But considering its place in the movie, it's really disappointing.
It's got the most sort of arc to it as a whole sequence, but yeah. It's not like so much better that it stands out as like the finale.
The only thing you can really say for it, I think, is the only time that it feels like the three ninjas are actually under any major threat in the movie.
Yeah.
Other than maybe when Rocky's being attacked by Lothar with the sword, I guess. But most of the other scenes in the movie are them pretty clearly dominating, where this one at least has that moment when the lights go out and they're in trouble.
Yeah.
But it's not really seriously in trouble.
No. Oh, with the bad ninjas defeated, the lights are on now, I guess. It's not dark anymore. I mean, I guess they're a different part of the place, so the lights are on. That's convenient.
Yeah, in fairness, she disabled the lights by shooting some lights. It makes sense that lights would be on elsewhere, but still.
It's literally like the lights are off for this scene for drama. Okay, we're done with that. Lights are on now. Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
The heroes go to try to fuse the bomb. Since they have the wrong kind of power cable, and yes, that is really a plot point, her laptop does not have enough power to apparently run the bomb defusal app that it has on there.
It's so weird.
Get my laptop. Oh no, it's not enough power. Plug it into this nearby port. Oh, we need a 3-prong adapter.
Yeah, the laptop has 3 prongs. The port has 2. So Rocky literally pries the grounding pin out of the 3-prong power cord, but then when he plugs in, it just sparks and apparently nothing happens. And Amanda literally immediately gives up all hope.
Yes, yeah. I just like that someone wrote, quote, "We need a 3-pronged adapter." In an action movie, no less.
I love that someone thought, we need to explain why this super god hacker that we have can't hack a bomb.
Yeah.
And didn't think, maybe it's because the bomb doesn't have any kind of port that you can plug into.
Yeah.
Because there's no need for a bomb to have that. Because it is a purely mechanical device.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. Well, they tried one thing and failed, so Rocky has a much different plan, which is kind of insane when you really break it down.
It is.
The group duct tapes the bomb to the 3 air tanks that were left behind by the bad guys. Remember, they came with scuba gear. And I guess less of them left, so there's tanks left over.
That is fair enough, honestly.
Yeah.
Chekhov's scuba gear, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, they make a system where they're going to strap the bomb to this thing, and then they're going to hit the back and send it flying, so it'll leave, go out the sewer pipe, and go away. And just blow up somewhere in the ocean, killing all sorts of fish and dolphins. Who cares? However, Rocky's not strong enough to break it. He tries hitting with the pipe or some sort of metal object. Tries to,
I think it's like a wrench or something, isn't it? Or
yeah, I think it's a wrench, yeah. Colt tries it as well, and also can't do it. However, returning Hogan is here to save the day.
I'm surprised they didn't let Tum Tum try. According to the rest of this movie, he'd break it in an instant and probably crack the earth in 2 in the process.
That's why they knew not to trust him with that.
Yeah.
So Hogan, after last being seen taken out by a single hand buzzer, and previously seen being taken out by a single punch by Lonnie Anderson, is now the hero who's strong enough to smack the end off the thing and send it flying out. He makes the makeshift torpedo fly down and out the pipe towards the ship. We cut to said ship where the bad guys, all 4 of them, only the people we identified as villains that weren't recaptured, so no Varney, are on the ship. I guess no one else is there. They see this tiny object flying towards them in a straight line towards their ship. I don't think it was Rocky's plan to blow up their ship with the bomb.
No, he just was getting rid of the bomb. That's it. Yeah.
It just happened to go right at it in a straight line.
Yes.
Because that boat hasn't moved at all in the water of the several hours they've been gone.
Or maybe it has, and that's why it ended up in the line of fire.
There you go. The bad guys see it coming and jump, just in time to avoid being blown up by an explosion that, my guess is, took about 20% of the film's budget.
Yeah, let's analyze this for a moment.
Yeah.
Because this explosion, one, is multiple explosions.
Yeah.
So you see the explosion of the actual bomb hitting, but then you see multiple further explosions on the top of the ship, detonating this entire vessel.
Yeah.
Was the ship stocked with nothing but C4?
They had a lot of spare bombs in case this one didn't work, I guess.
I guess so. Good gosh. It's an absolutely bonkers level explosion that goes off for this thing. Like I said, it's most of the film's budget.
Yeah.
Also, their plan to avoid the bomb is to jump into the water, which is where the bomb is.
Yeah, it's coming straight out of them that way, yeah.
Yeah.
They jump straight into the water as it's going at them, yeah.
Yeah. Not the best plan, I would say.
Yeah.
If they had stayed on the ship, then the movie says they would have died, obviously.
Yeah.
But if I were looking at the situation from their perspective beforehand, I would be like, there's a bomb coming at the ship, take cover, and then we'll bail out as the ship starts to sink. Because I know how big the bomb was that I set, and it's not big enough to take out this entire vessel.
Makes sense.
Apparently, more the fool me.
Yeah. Oddly, in the aftermath, we only see Anderson make it to the beach.
Yes.
And she gets arrested by the cops.
Medusa's the only one that's arrested, so I guess CJ and the 3 idiots all died in the blast.
That's what I'm going with, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yikes.
So Rocky has inadvertently killed at least 5 people in this?
Yeah, sounds about right. Well, now it's nighttime, apparently, and the press is covering the reuniting of our heroes and their family. While the reporter is talking to them, Colt whispers to Rocky, and they agree to give the credit to Hogan's character, saying he's the real hero, you should talk to him. Remember, kids, lying is cool.
This is maybe a callback to one of the earlier films where I think the lesson that Grandpa Maury gave them in that one was something about like ninjas not seeking the spotlight or something like that. If you're being generous with it, you can interpret that way. So
like the Ninja Turtles where they got to wear their coats and hats when they're on the surface.
Yeah.
Until they make a turtle blimp.
Exactly like Ninja Turtles, yes.
Yeah. Honestly, it kind of is. In the very quick amount of time this happened, and the kids say, oh, by the way, he's the hero, the reporter lets Hogan know that he's apparently getting a new contract. No doubt with a clause that makes him get paid for wearing NWO shirts in public.
Yes.
And everyone is happy. Colt and Rocky say they want to go to Ninja Camp again next summer. And they invite Amanda. She didn't actually ask to go, but I guess she's got to go with them now. Mom brings Tum Tum's birthday cake out, and they pan up to fireworks. The end.
So, about that cake.
Yeah.
Number 1, Tum Tum completely fails to blow out the candles.
Well, yeah.
But number 2, how does that cake exist here at this moment? It was the dad's job to pick up the cake.
Yeah.
He says so on the phone before they go to the park.
He stopped on the way.
I sincerely doubt that he bought a birthday cake on the way there. And the mom later rushes to the park after having been told by him that something is happening at the park. I, again, sincerely doubt that she went by to pick up a birthday cake when she wasn't even sure if her kids would be alive. So this is happening like shortly after the explosion, presumably. They're just now being reunited with their parents. Who picked up the cake?
Okay, but I can answer this for you. It's not that one of them went and got the cake on the way. So what happened is, the dad, after being told what's happened, stopped at the cake shop on the way to pick up the cake, but they got some of the wording wrong. He corrected them what the spelling was. They put the wrong year for Tum Tum. Then he went to the park. He let the mom know what's happening and also said, hey, check on the cake on the way here. She went in, got the correct cake, and put it in the car safely in the cooler. So not one of them went. They both went, okay? It'll make sense.
Gotcha. Okay. How did this movie manage to make the existence of a birthday cake on a child's birthday a plot hole? That's amazing.
It's a feat of in itself.
If they just cut back home, the whole thing would be resolved, I think.
Yeah. But we needed them in front of fireworks at the park.
Yeah.
For some reason. Also, they burned fireworks at the park after the massive explosion.
Yes.
That killed several people.
Post-traumatic stress for everyone in the park is getting triggered all over the place right now.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. And of course, Grandpa Maury's there again.
Yes, he's back for the finale. That's true.
Oh, my gosh. So overall thoughts on Three Ninjas, High Noon at Mega Mountain?
Okay. It's honestly not a terrible film by any stretch of the imagination. That said, I think it's definitely a film of its time. Between the stars, between the tech, and the tone, it is very 90s. Granted, there's no sign of a Tamagotchi or Pogs anywhere to be seen, but it still has that vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I think our leads do a pretty good job of playing the parts, though I think there's some variety there as far as like quality to me. I think Rocky, as the oldest and having the most to do, he's got the girlfriend, he has the sort of emotional investment on top of the regular rescue. I think he does the best personally of them. Colt's good as well. Tum Tum, other than forgetting his one line, apparently at one scene that's kind of important, is okay, but his role is very one-dimensional. He just kind of yells and fights and yells while fighting. He's not bad. I tried to be too mean to kid actors, so I'm trying to grading on a proper curve, I'd say.
He's fulfilling his role. His role is just written as significantly less complicated than the others.
For sure, yeah. I don't think he does a bad job of the role. He just doesn't have much to do.
Yeah.
Our villains are a mix of silly, very silly, and kind of decent. Varney does the most here, I think. He has a whole arc, even if it doesn't go well. I mean, he's the serious henchman. He has reactions to the idiot henchman and all these things. He gets sillier as the film goes on, but he has the most sort of emoting and reacting to things, I think, in the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
Anderson is kind of disappointing. She's not terrible. She's so just flat. She starts at a 4 and stays at a 4.
Yeah. She like has moments where she's reacting to things, but not in a way that's like showing her increasing aggravation that much.
No. The most you get is when she says, that's my money, when the thing's falling.
Yeah.
And that's just like a single line, and then just kind of sit out of 4 for mild annoyance at things going wrong. But also, when things are going right, she's at the same level, so.
It definitely hurts her character arc that they feel like they're building to stuff with her that just never comes up.
Yeah. I thought Hogan as a whole did a decent job here. Again, he didn't have the most complicated character arc here. He's just a generally nice guy who wants to be a hero, and obviously he's not quite as suited to it as he thinks, because he didn't have, several years of ninja training and plot armor. I do find it funny that they make a key point when they first introduce him backstage that he's wearing a toupee. There's no payoff to it at all.
No.
Because he puts it back on and he wears it the whole movie.
It's like it was just a joke that we're having this character played by Hulk Hogan and everyone knows he's bald.
Yeah. Because I thought maybe like when he finally heroic, he'll just toss it aside. Like, I don't need this. This is the real me. And he's being heroic and he has a scene like where he helps them.
Yeah.
But no, he didn't learn a lesson as far as that goes. I'd say the action is obviously the main draw here. There's a lot of good work done behind the scenes with people choreographing fight scenes, doing doubling, which is a thankless job, obviously, in a lot of cases. You know, you got to do front flips and falls wearing different outfits and masks. No one can ever go, oh, that's you on screen here doing this move because you're generic henchman number 16 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you got to double for stars and, you know, not always the best job. It's a good mix of sort of creative stuff. Like you mentioned the Jackie Chan comparison a lot, and they definitely cribbed from that, which is fine. It's a thing that started to become popular. This is 1996 when they shot it. I would say about a year or so after, or was it Rumble in the Bronx is this real big breakout?
I think so. I think that was like 94 or 95, somewhere in there.
And that's when his stuff got released on video and the burgeoning DVDs market. So I could see people discovering his older work and where he does a lot of that. He does bits in his movies where he'll like headbutt a guy and then sell it more than they do. So like even that spot is directly from a Jackie Chan, it seems like.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, and again, the stunt team, they've got a double for Jim Varney at certain points, Hulk Hogan for other points, and then kids. There's one scene you can see when Colt is like flipping up the stairs in the first part of that last fight, where he simply shot with his back to the camera, like, oh, okay, that's a double. Because the double was clearly taller than him.
Yeah, there's a couple shots in that final fight where we're like, huh, Colt is suddenly the same size as the person he's fighting. I wonder what happened there.
Yeah, and then he flips and turns around and suddenly he's shorter than the guy again, yeah.
Yes. Credit to the team for making that as invisible as it is.
Yeah.
That had to be really hard.
Oh, yeah.
I don't mean to mock the efforts of the stunt team in this film at all. I think they really pulled off some miracle work at times in this film.
Yeah.
But there are just some points where, because of the difficulty of what they're trying to accomplish, the mask does slip a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like when Jim Varney's double is apparent, because when he's going across the bench, he has to be in like front profile towards the camera.
Yeah.
So there's no way to hide that face. And that's really when the combination of people involved needs to be at work. You need to shoot that scene, and then the director or producer's got to go, wait a second, we can see his face. Let's shoot it from a different angle. Let's do it again from the back. So you'd see his face in profile, but you wouldn't see his face head on. And that would work just fine. You could have cut between those two or done the whole thing that way.
But Al, they'd spent all the money on that ship explosion, so...
Oh, right. Yeah.
There was simply no budget.
Yeah. It's important for me when you critique films to understand that any film, say for like a super low budget student film, has a cast of like 100, 200 people, maybe more, especially nowadays. So when something messes up, it's usually not one guy, one guy named Steve messing up. There's a series of guardrails along the way that get missed or get ignored, and that's when flubs like, the Starbucks cup showing up in Game of Thrones ends up there. There's 10 people who could have done something about that shot and didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Even the guy in post-production goes, wait a second, it's a cup. Let me just erase this on the shot. No one person is to blame, I'd say, when film like this mess up. It's just important to note that. I think if viewed like we did as something expected to be silly, and let's be honest, I kind of thought it'd be pretty bad. I have vague memories of watching this movie as a kid or a young adult thinking, oh, this is not good. It's decent. It's still very silly. I'd recommend it if you're in sort of the right mindset, especially accepting that it's a comedy, accepting that it's definitely a product of its time, and a little nostalgia goes a long way, I'd say.
Okay, let's start with the good.
Okay.
The fight choreography in this is really good, and Jem really performed pretty well. There's a clear Jackie Chan influence, as we've mentioned, at some points with the kids using the environment to gain the advantage, and a lot of interplay with the sets rather than them just being backdrops.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen far, far worse action scenes in movies. We've seen far worse action scenes in some of the movies that we've watched for this podcast.
True.
The kids obviously don't do all their own stunts. There's some pretty dangerous stuff going on in those scenes, so that's very understandable. But they do a fair amount of good, solid martial arts stuff themselves, and it's really impressive what they can pull off.
Yeah.
Even little JP that played Tum Tum really has some quite good kicks and punches, leaving aside that they're far more effective than they should be. His form is really good.
Yeah.
Michael Olasky as Colt is probably the standout. for the martial arts bits, and justifiably the one who gets much of the camera time. Even just looking at what he's clearly doing himself, the kid has some really, really good kicks. Apparently, he's now actually teaching martial arts to kids, so carrying on after Grandpa Mori, I guess.
There you go.
The acting by the kids, and even by Hogan, is also not bad. Matthew Batuchis, as Rocky in particular, does a really nice job with what he's given to work with, even if what he's given to work with is often not that great. He definitely makes the most of the script. Hogan actually probably puts in, to me, one of the best performances in the film, which is kind of a combination compliment to Hogan and a bit of a slap against the rest of the film, I admit. But honestly, he does a good job of playing a quite lively plot of a stage hero trying to be a real hero. It's probably made a bit easier for him in that he's able to basically take much of his Hulk Hogan face persona and respond to villains just like he would as Hogan. But still, I mean, we've seen Hogan play a fictionalized Hogan on Baywatch, and that was nowhere near this smooth.
Yeah, that's true.
I also really liked Victor Wong's Grandpa Mori for the extremely brief period he was in the movie.
Yeah.
And Jim Varney at least started out as quite a good, threatening, but not overly scary villain in Lothar Zog, before the movie decided to progressively tear his character down to a comedic idiot. Alan McRae and Margarita Franco also did well as the parents for the little bits that they were in this. There were a lot of awkward and weird performances as well, but there were good acting moments in this film.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, most of the rest of the film just does not hold up. Even allowing for this fundamentally being a kids' movie, there are so many plot holes and so much nonsense and so much filler and so many abandoned threads.
Yeah.
Just to go through a few things that came to my head as I was writing this.
All right.
There's a huge amount of buildup of Amanda's special effects wizardry, but her yo-yo gets used like twice, her cards once, her smoke bombs twice, and her helicopter once pointlessly.
Yeah.
Using those more would have gone a long way towards explaining how 3 kids could take on larger, stronger adults.
Sure.
Dave Dragon is built up as slowly ascending as a hero until he has his big hero moment, then just gets his butt kicked again instantly in the final fight. The kids are really worried about fighting the threat, even though they've fought 3 movies worth of threats so far. The kids get warned to lay low by their dad, then fight bad guys anyway, then decide not to fight bad guys so they won't get in trouble with their dad, then fight bad guys anyway.
Yeah.
The whole plan of the bad guys, they're going to be stealthy. They're going to ruin the reputation of the park owner by making it look like rides are malfunctioning. They're going to sneakily take over for park staff, or maybe they'll openly take over for park staff, or maybe they'll just openly use assault rifles to scare park goers, or maybe they'll fake being park staff and run stations, but maybe they'll leave some not taken over.
Sure.
Or maybe they'll kidnap children in broad daylight with dozens of witnesses. Oh, and they need to capture Dave Dragon. Oh, wait, some children. Let's just leave him there unconscious, even though we were super worried about him 3 seconds ago. Oh, and Medusa wants Amanda as a hostage and then lifelong captive, except she also wants to kill her with a bomb.
Yeah, that's all true.
Why exactly have 3 literal ninja children never learned to fight in the dark? That's Ninja 101. Why does Tum Tum not have any friends his age? I think he'd be the coolest kid in his class. Honestly, he's literally a ninja.
Yeah.
Why, other than they have to be outside for the plot, do the parents and Grandpa Mori not attend Tum Tum's whole birthday party? Here, son, go play with your older brothers who don't want to do what you want to do with none of your friends, and we'll eventually show up at night because, goodness, otherwise we'd have to watch Dave Dragon with you like other parents do with their children. Jacobson is a stuck-up rich guy. Oops, no, he's willing to give up his money to save the park goers. Oops, no, he's weeping over his money and reluctant to surrender it. Why even bother adding a subplot about an inconsistently arrogant rich dude? What did it add?
Yeah.
Why did Medusa hire CJ if she can out-hack Amanda herself better than he could?
Yeah.
Did the idiots in CJ die? Why did the SWAT team give up after a single attempt? Look, I get that the answer is we didn't want to show a bloody gunfight in a kids movie, but it does need to be explained.
Yeah.
What happened at the second and third areas that the SWAT team was trying to breach? Why is Medusa built up as being able to beat Dave Dragon multiple times, but then never in an actual fight scene, despite it feeling like the entire movie is building to that? Why does no one ever try to kill anyone other than Dave Dragon with an assault rifle? Again, obviously, the real explanation is kids' movie, but still explained in the movie. Why do the police still hand over the money after Medusa no longer has any hostages? Who bought the cake? Also, the soundtrack sucks. That's not a plot hole, just an observation.
Yeah.
Suffice to say, there's a lot of stuff to question in this film, and very little gets sufficiently answered over the course of the film. It's not a bad first draft of a script. The basic concept of bad guys taking over an amusement park and some talented kids having to stop them is a perfectly fine concept, and it's used very well at times, like the fight scene at the Cowboy Show, the use of rides and attractions as both threats and a way to counter the villains, and a nice big staging area for all sorts of action and to give a variety of locations. But it was in dire need of some editing.
Yeah, agreed.
The film's biggest weaknesses are buildup and suspension of disbelief. The film just doesn't raise the stakes that well. Almost every fight involves the boys trying to save a hostage. We have the park goers, then Jennifer, then Amanda, from a trap. So while the stakes do get more personal, they don't really ascend. The later fights in the film, where there should be the most drama, are some of the ones with the most joke moments, particularly Rocky's repeated freakouts over being high up.
Yeah.
Each individual fight scene is done pretty well, but taken together, they all feel too similar to each other. They don't really have unique gimmicks. The final fight could have been really different if they either involved Dave Dragon more or had the lights out moment come much earlier, but they do neither, so it really suffers from being much of the same stuff that we've already watched.
Mm-hmm.
As for suspension of disbelief, I have zero problem with capable kid heroes, but to have kid action heroes, you need to have them use one of two things: cleverness or outright magic. This series is mostly avoiding the magic side of ninjas, so they need to use cleverness, and in some notable instances they do. Colt and Rocky in particular frequently land their actual knockout blows in fights with an environmental trick, a tool, or some other way of gaining the advantage over a larger, stronger adult. And also, in fairness, Rocky's 15, so I don't have as much a problem with him being able to just go toe-to-toe with adults because of pure skill, at least in action movie logic.
Yeah, sure.
But all three ninjas also spend large chunks of fights just fighting like they're the adult protagonists of any other martial arts film, frequently blocking rather than dodging, easily stunning or knocking back adults with strikes, and never really facing a challenge of someone outright overpowering them.
Mm-hmm.
Tum Tum even just straight up beats people without any tricks.
Yeah.
I am not asking for the film to show kids getting the crap beaten out of them, obviously.
No.
I'm just saying a bigger deal should be made of the disadvantage they have versus adults, because that will make their eventual triumph bigger. You could easily fix this. Have them use more of the clever Jackie Chan environment stunts, or have them actually team up ever.
Yeah.
If they isolated villains and overwhelmed them with numbers more often, that would go a long way towards helping deal with this as well. I don't recall a ton of the first Three Ninjas film that I watched when I was a kid, being a kid when I watched it.
Sure.
But I do recall them team fighting quite a bit more in it. And also, don't put it all on the kids. You can have them be the most important factor in ending the threat. It is their movie, but you don't have to have the adults do nothing. You can have the adults accomplish some things just to give the film more variety, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Again, looking back at the original Three Ninjas film, Grandpa Mori does a lot of the fighting, and in fact, I believe gets the final fight in the film, and the boys' father, Sam, shoots the main villain to save them. So, yes, the boys should probably do more of the work in the fourth film in their franchise, but that doesn't mean you have to make the adults in the franchise suddenly all absent or incompetent.
Agreed, yeah.
I wouldn't say that this is an outright awful movie still. It was actually pretty entertaining at times. I think it's better put together than some of the other films we've watched, with more of an actual plot progression and call of response between heroes and villains than Universal Soldier: The Return, more actual content than First Daughter,
Yeah.
and more likable characters and less nonsense than Ready to Rumble, which is funny since it has a lower rating than all three of those.
Mm-hmm.
It's a below average kids movie and below average martial arts movie, but it's entertainingly below average. Dumb, but ultimately watchable and pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree.
Match of the night and MVP then. So Al, what's your match of the night? And obviously for this, we're saying any action sequence, whether it's necessarily a fighting sequence or not. So like things like the chase could still apply if you want.
I got you. I think for me, it's probably as a whole the I guess technically the second match, where they're fighting by the Old West set.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they did a decent job of fighting in an outdoor area and doing props and silly stuff with that, and all the same issues that the later ones do with how Tum Tum is treated and all that. But I thought they did a decent job with that one as a whole, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think that is the strongest fight overall in the movie. The fight on the Western stage show set.
Yeah.
Is the fight where the movie's formula is the freshest, which definitely helps. But it also features some really good use of the set design and props as part of the fight. It uses the concept of the whole thing taking place at a theme park very well with the audience. And it has the least of the Tum Tum is super strong nonsense, as it's one of the few fights where he at least uses tools and surprise, if comedically, to gain advantage.
Agreed, yeah.
MVP?
I I mean, objectively, the best actor in the movie is Victor Wong as the grandpa.
Yeah, definitely true.
But I think it's a little unfair to pick him because while he's so important to the first part of the movie, he completely vanishes by the end of Act 1 and is only kind of just there to celebrate the end of the movie itself. Like if we were reviewing the first movie for some reason, the way you talked about it, I think that's a guarantee because he's more crucial to the plot.
Absolutely, yeah.
But he's really not here. I think the one that does the best combination of doing their action scenes, doing the acting they have to do with them, and it come across the best is the actor playing Rocky. He gets generally more of the personal stakes. He's got the girlfriend in trouble. He gets the showcase fight scene as silly as it gets, obviously, at the end with Varney's character. He came off the best of the three. Colt is a pretty strong contention, I'd say, as well. But I think Rocky just had a little extra as part of the plot itself to do, so I think he got more to do.
This is one of the rare cases I have not written an MVP down yet, because normally I decide that pretty clearly before we start recording, but
yeah,
I was having real trouble on it, not because there's bad performances in the film, but because there actually are quite a number of pretty decent performances here.
Yeah.
Rocky and Colt, I think, are strong ones for me. Hogan, actually, I think, is in my running as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to agree with you, though. I think it's Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little torn just because I think he gets overly comedic in the ending bits, but
sure, yeah.
That's not on him. That's the scripting telling him what to do, and he's doing a perfectly good job of doing it.
Sure, yeah.
He has the most emotional arc in the movie and does the most believable acting overall among the kids and does a perfectly fine job with the action parts that he's doing. Yeah, it's close between him and Colt for me, I think, but I'll go with Rocky.
All right.
And that wraps up our review of Three Ninjas High Noon at Mega Mountain. If you've enjoyed listening to us tonight, you can find us on Facebook as Let's Go to the Ring. A link will be available in the episode description. Follow us for episode announcements and other show details, and share your own thoughts about each show as we go through. You can subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, YouTube Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn, or Pandora. And please, if you've enjoyed this show, give us a rating or review, and share the show through your favorite social media platforms to help others discover us. Many thanks to IMDb for casting and production information, and to Gina Trujillo for our logo. Next up, we'll just have to see. The situation with WCW content remains, and Al and I have not actually had the chance to pick our next show yet. So for what I believe to be the first time in our run, I don't have a preview for you. So next time, it'll be a surprise. This is Bob Moore for Alec Pridgeon, signing off. Good night, everybody.
Happy wrestling?
There was some.
Yeah, I know.